There is that thing that people say about women who are a little bit older, like that they're great at fucking. But I think
is that a t-shirt? Mm-hmm. Great at fucking?
Yeah, 100%. Bird, why are you sitting here while I do my podcast? You're just going to stare at me across the desk? That seems unchill. I'm not going to lie. Birdie just asked why they can't sit here because they can't like freely talk on this pod. You get self-conscious when you have to do a thing in front of other people. Don't you know that? But Caissie and I are having a conversation. Caissie, what do I say to this kid?
That you're their mom.
I'm your mother, and I'm gonna ask you now. You know what I got? I got the podcast merch.
Oh, nice.
The new merch that we're deciding if we're going to add to the collection. Guys, you liked the podcast merch that we did last time. People, how are the podcast sweatshirts from my dreams selling?
I think people
really
like them. Yeah, people have written saying that they bought them because they have their own podcast and
it's like, getting, you know what? It's cheaper. Yeah. I have my own, it's like I have my own podcast, and what's cheaper is to just buy your sweatshirt that you already made that says podcast.
And it fits. It
Here
applies.
We are. Busy Phillips is doing her best. Another podcast unboxing.
Yeah.
Is there anything?
This is our trademark.
This is one of our, I believe this is one of our trademarks.
Yeah.
No other podcast would dare
unbox.
To do such a visual gag on the podcast. But you know what Caissie and I say? We don't subscribe to the rules.
Tell us what all the rules are so we cannot do them.
That's exactly right, podcast people. Tell us that our podcast needs to be 45 minutes to an hour, and we will show you a 3-hour and 15-minute fucking podcast. So I'm opening up the new merch that we have. These are like samples of that Summer and Aaron are sending us. Which is fantastic. Ooh. Oh, wow. Love. Very on trend. Very on trend. This is super cute. Okay, now I'm opening up another shirt. Oh, this one's fantastic. Are you kidding me?
Busy's opening an always take the banana shirt.
I love this. And I love the cut of these shirts. And I also love this one that's they based off of my granny squares Afghan that my grandmother had made.
I love that too. I think people are going to love that one.
It's very on trend. I don't know if I'm responsible for it. But it's really like a fucking thing now. They're everywhere.
Well, listen, here's what I'll say. If you're not responsible for it, I will say that you're very perceptive and just right ahead of the trend.
Okay, guys, so here's what we're doing. We have beach towels. Is summer almost over? Possibly. Are these cute as hell towels anyway? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love them. These are amazing. Guys, am I selling this merch or what? Here's what we're doing. We've got 2 different themes on. Okay, 2 different themes going. We have the inspired by my grandma's Afghan granny square theme. And then my nails that Aki did my nails.
Yes,
you guys can go back on my Instagram and see the nails that were hand painted that were so cool. So we're doing that, and there's a towel, a beach towel with it. This is a bestseller.
I love that one.
Put this in a fucking Target, and we could print money, is what I'm saying.
You know what I want? I want us to get one of those house-shaped frame displays in Target like Chip and Joanna have.
That's exactly what we need.
You know what I'm saying? Do you guys know how inside a Target, when you go inside a Target, there's like a mini...
Stop it. With this sweatshirt?
I love that sweatshirt.
Oh my God. And it's so cozy, you guys.
It's really soft.
What we're looking at here, I'm giving you the description of it. What we're looking at here is a really beautifully like heathered blue soft sweatshirt that has the aforementioned granny square pattern motif on the kangaroo pocket.
Right. Look inside
Is that
the
what they
hood.
call it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then inside the hood, another little peekaboo of it. And guys, it says doing my best. When I tell you that we are truly leveling up, just call us Ciara. Because this podcast merch has two themes, bananas and granny squares. And you're going to fucking want it all. Start saving, guys, because this is all happening. And you know what I would love to do now? I mean, love to do this time.
What?
I would love to, I'd love to do a podcast merch giveaway.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. This embroidered shirt that says always take the banana with an embroidered banana is something special. This is really special.
So cute. And I laundered mine already to see how it would hold up in the laundry. And I think it got even cuter.
I mean, these sweatshirts are beyond. And these, I mean, I'm floored. The work that these people did, the team.
Yeah. Listen, even if you're not in the market for merch or whatever, totally encourage you to go to bravegowns.com and just look at the other work that they're doing, because like they're just helping us with the merch, like as a fun little side thing when they're not busy doing actually incredible, amazing work, making hospital gowns and other, I don't know, what do you call it? Soft goods for children, basically for children that are hospitalized. And so this is just like a little side thing that they're doing on the side to help out to dizzy broads.
Sorry, I missed most of that while Caissie was talking because my own podcast sweatshirt also arrived.
We're now wearing
matching. Can you take a picture? Can you screenshot this?
Yeah, sure.
Sweatshirt of my dreams, literally my dreams. I dreamt of it. Caissie, it's too hot because I had to turn the air conditioning off. So now I have to take the podcast sweatshirt off. I'm sorry, guys.
Hold,
please.
It.
1 second.
We all know you're a sweaty lady.
I'm already starting to sweat, and I just had a facial, and I don't want to sweat my products off my face. The serums that she very generously massaged into my epidermis.
Busy's now taking off the podcast sweatshirt.
You know how sometimes you go down like a rabbit hole on Instagram Explore page?
Yes.
Okay. So mine of late has been these like threads that people are putting underneath their skin and pulling their skin up with the thread.
Yeah, the thread.
Have you seen these?
Yes.
Yeah,
you told me about it a couple years ago because you told me of a certain person.
The golden threads.
Yeah, the golden threads.
I've been on the take. No, that's not right. I've been in on the threads for years. Like I've known about them for years. But I've never done it. But I've been fascinated by it and like watched it. And then the other day I realized that there's like a whole Instagram like tunnel you can go down, watching people get the threads, seeing the after effects of the threads, finding out there's different threads now.
Here's the thing.
Used to be that it was like gold.
Yeah. Look it up, everyone, because if you can, you know what? Trigger warning. It's horrific, in my opinion.
Yeah. By the way, if you don't like blood and stuff poking into skin, don't look at this.
Look. But if you want,
I mean, you don't have to like it, but like if it's something that is upsetting to you, don't look that up.
But like if you feel like you can take it, look into it because it is nuts. And here's the thing: how long does this last, Busy? You get all these threads crisscrossed across your face. How long?
They like
does it
pull
last?
it up, and everybody wants that thing now where they like their eyes like
are
it's called
lifted.
like are lifted just on the sides or whatever.
Yeah,
it's called something that is called like it's like I think it might be called like cat eye
shock and
or
awe
something like. Is that what it's called? Now my understanding from my rabbit hole that I went down is that now they have different threads that are like they dissolve into your skin, but they're like collagen boosting in the places that they dissolve in. So the new threads are like some sort of protein that dissolves. I don't know if any of that's true. I remember when I had stitches years ago.
Yeah.
And they were like, they'll dissolve because they're made of crab shell or something. I swear to God.
Oh my God.
And I was like, what?
I had stitches in my head that were dissolving, and it was very traumatic for me the day that they came out in the shower.
It's gross. It is gross.
It was very gross because
also,
I wasn't sure.
In your head just are not a
gross
fun
in
thing
general.
ever.
Yes, one time when Lincoln was little, he cut his head. He cut his head, and he had a staple, just one single staple to close the wound.
I don't like
and
it.
every time the sun glinted on that little staple in his head, I almost blacked out. I couldn't.
You get that thing where like your vagina hurts.
Yes, yeah, where your
Sphincter.
your balls go up into your body,
balls go up into your body,
you
but we
don't have balls, so it's just like what do you call that?
Phantom.
Like your vestigial balls, vestigial.
It's our phantom balls.
Phantom ball syndrome.
Well, speaking of that too, not exactly that, but someone else now told me about a new thing. I will not say who. It doesn't matter, but it's like
Somebody,
just a person.
It's
about a new treatment for your vagina if you've like had babies and or / just as you get older, whatever. If you have like the sneeze peas or the cough peas or the laugh peas or whatever.
Yeah.
There's this new thing that gynecologists can do in office. This was the first I'd ever heard about it. And it's like I don't know if it's an ultrasound or if it's another thing.
Oh, like a
another thing.
Like a transvaginal ultrasound tightening. Like they put the wand in.
They put the wand up in you. But the way she described it, well, first of all, she said it 100% worked and was like incredible.
I'm sure.
But that what it is, though, what it entails, the process of getting it done. And ladies, most of us listening, I would think, have had an internal vaginal ultrasound at one time or another for some reason. If you haven't, or you're one of the 4 men listening to this podcast, hi, Matt. Hi, Mark. Sometimes women have to get like essentially like a giant dildo shaped ultrasound thing that they legit put a condom on.
Yeah, high-tech dildo.
They squirt the ultrasound goo directly onto the machine, and then they put the condom over it, and then they squirt more ultrasound. And they shove it right on up there. They just got to get it on up just to see what's happening. So the process of this new thing to stop the peeing, to tighten your pelvic floor or whatever, she's like, it was like 35 minutes of the nurse just with this it was very warm rod in and out of my vagina, like repeatedly.
Wow.
Like methodically. Just in and out and in and out and in and out. And I was like, oh my God. And you're just lying there. It almost feels like they should they should show you how to do it and then be like, are you good? Do you just want to do this yourself for 30 minutes?
Yeah, because it's just like bad.
Because you're literally like getting fucked.
Yeah.
By a robot.
But also,
by the way, but that's what like dildos are. You know what I mean? But then to like just have like a nurse or nurse practitioner or like somebody just like sitting there just ramming it in and out of you is so disconcerting.
It's disconcerting. It's weird. I mean, of all the weird things that women do, getting like stuff waxed and whatever, that's
I love
on
getting
the weirder
waxed.
side. Do you?
I love it. I love it. I fucking love it. You know what, though? I forgot to talk about this. I had a terrible wax experience. I do not. Guys, hit up that email if you know who I'm going to get waxed with in New York City, because I'm sure that Joanna Check can do it sometimes, because that was her. So who does my facials, but she's also a waxer.
Yeah,
but she doesn't do it for guys. She doesn't do it for everybody anymore.
She doesn't do it all the time, because
but she doesn't do it all the time. It's a lot. You know what I mean?
You got to graduate. If you're good at what you do, hopefully you graduate from pubes one day and you can just
I don't know. It's a real fucking art form.
Do the type of things that you want to do if you're not into pubes. But if you're like a pubes master and you want to do it
I think I'd be into it.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, anyway, here's what I'm saying. Or here was my story from a few months ago. So during the pandems, I think we talked about this early days of this show, like early eps. I like taught myself how to wax myself.
Yeah. Yeah. And you were like all
using hard wax
and mirrors.
Yeah. Yeah. And like yoga.
Yeah.
And I was pretty good at it because, I'm good at that. I'm good at beauty stuff. I can really catch on,
Yeah.
I'm a self-taught esthetician with no license. But anyway, I'm like, just like, it's not the most, I would much prefer someone to just rip that hair off for me.
Yeah.
And I'm not a person, we've had this discussion too, maybe. I felt since Birdie was a baby, I'm like, because we're in our 40s. And so we're of the generation of women where it was like, the thing was to get it all taken off.
Yes. Yeah.
Like
bald.
100%
Yeah.
bald.
Yeah.
Bald eagle.
Yeah.
That was the vibe. That was the Playboy. That was set.
Yeah.
That was a thing that was like, we all knew we had to do it. We vajazzled. What did we do? What was it called? What was it called?
Vajazzling.
Vajazzling.
Yeah.
There was vajazzling.
Yeah. I never did that, but most of my stuff is lasered. Like, it's mostly not there forever. I didn't think about if full bush came back into style.
If trends would change.
Yeah.
Well, I had, so when Birdie was a baby, I had this whole epiphany where I was like, I don't want my children to look at my vagina and it looks like theirs. Anyway, so I made that choice. It's a long time ago now, 13 years ago.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I'm not doing it anymore. But I do like to clean up on the sides when it's bikinis, because it's just not.
Yeah.
I just don't love I don't love a straggling hair. You
don't want to look like Bob Ross is giving you a ride on his shoulders.
No, I don't. I don't. But also, like, I also am just like, so I just like this to get the sides cleaned. It's not like that. It's not that deep, guys. It's not that big of a deal. It just is what it is. But I didn't have anyone in New York to do it. We were going to Florida. Really glad we got that trip in pre-Delta. Whew, that was by the skin of our teeth.
Yeah.
Really hit that theme park. So I think I'll be good for about a year. But anyway, so I got a recommendation. I went to this person, this like waxer lady. And at first I was like, that was the most painless wax I've ever experienced. It was wonderful, like truly super painless. Like, wow, that was wild. Well, like within 2 days, every single follicle of hair was ingrown.
Oh no.
So then I went on like a deep dive about waxing and hair removal.
Yeah.
And here's what happened. It was bad wax. She didn't pull the hair out. She broke it.
Yeah. And then it curled back in.
The surface of the skin.
Yeah.
No, at the surface of the skin. And so then it just like all of it became inflamed or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was terrible. and really difficult for me to recover from.
Yeah, because you know what you don't want to do? Get into like a water park slide with an inflamed cooch.
You really don't. You really, really don't. It was not pleasant. Ugh. So that was my bad wax experience. I meant to talk about it. I didn't. But why was I bringing that up? What was that?
We were talking about how we didn't know what we now know about our pubes and how you had wanted to have some pubes as an example to your children.
Which I think is like a valid point. Yeah. And that like that's normal and natural, and that like, you know, oh shit, wait. I feel like I'm all over the place today. I'm sorry. Oh, this is what I was going to say. I haven't eaten. I did work out. I went and got that facial. The facial went a little long because TBH, haven't seen a facialist in quite some time. And you know.
Are you about to eat a banana?
And I grabbed myself a fucking banana.
Nice.
Because I thought, you know what? Caissie will approve.
Always take the banana. It's very quiet to eat.
It's a quiet bite. It's not a salad.
It has nature's own wrapping and potassium.
Uh-huh.
I want to go back to the vagina tightening. It doesn't snap you like a rubber band. I feel like all lasery stuff that does any tightening has like a rubber band snapping. Your friend didn't mention that?
I know exactly what you're talking about. Lasers, guys, for you at home, because I was confused for 1 second. If you get a laser on your face, it like does. It feels like a snap. I don't believe this is a laser.
Okay.
I think this is like an ultrasound, a tightening
like a radio
ultrasound.
Frequency or something like that.
No, I literally think it's an ultrasound. Okay. I think it's a tightening ultrasound.
So
I'll keep saying ultrasound, and then you keep offering other things that it could possibly be, and then I'll say no. I actually think that what she said it was an ultrasound.
Then my concern would be, here's why I would be worried that it would just like make your vag look like a scrunchie.
What? No, it's for internal. It's internal.
I know, but if your internal tightens up and your external's the same, doesn't it just pucker all up like a scrunchie?
I mean, I don't know. People do those vaginal rejuvenation plastic surgeries on their cooches. I think it's weird. I've never had what I consider an attractive vagina, but like, whatever. It serves its purpose.
I don't know about everyone, but I imagine, I don't know that most people care what a vagina looks like.
I mean, no, this is what I'm saying. The people I've had sex with do not give a fuck.
Yeah. Probably wouldn't even really notice.
I do remember I was kind of scarred by this guy I was friends with. I mean, always. The guys that you're friends with are like always the worst. They say the worst things. Yeah. What you have to remember is like, if you're friends with a man, he is not speaking for all of mankind. He is just speaking for his own proclivities and like the weird shit that he feels.
Yeah.
Which sometimes are terrible, bad ideas. Like, for instance, this friend of mine, when I was in my early 20s, made some comment about how the only attractive vaginas are the ones where that's like you can't see the inner labia. You can only see, like, it's just like all tucked inside perfectly. And I was like, that exists? And I do not have that. And so then I was like, well, I obviously have the ugly kind of vagina. But also, whatever, dude. Like, what are we talking? What?
That's doesn't make any sense.
And then I had the other guy friend that, said if I didn't talk so much, I could be really beautiful or considered really beautiful. Not that I could be considered really beautiful.
Considered really beautiful if you would just talk less.
And that same guy also said that every woman has one summer of their life where they're really beautiful. You only get one summer, according to this motherfucker.
That guy.
I was like,
if that guy's listening,
there's not a fucking chance in hell. But
oh my gosh. So, and then about the string thing, like, is that something you've just like fell down a rabbit hole of looking at? You're not like going to get it done.
Well, I don't know. Here, I'm just going to be honest. I don't know. I'm sort of interested in it. Part of me, for you're gonna think I'm crazy. Well, I don't care. Part of me was thinking like for the next season of Girls 5 Eva, it might be fun to like literally like fun to do it for
face,
that.
like tightened up.
Yeah. Well, not tight. I mean, because it's not permanent, but
Right.
also just like that would be a thing that Summer would do.
Right.
I actually need to make these notes. First of all, they have to write vajazzling.
Vajazzling into.
Vajazzling has got to be in Girls 5 Eva.
I mean, there was also like that trend of like shaving your stuff into like a shape, like a star or a heart.
Right. Or
and you could vajazzle on top of.
Or your boyfriend's initials. Was that a thing? Did somebody do that?
No,
probably. Somebody did that.
Yeah, probably.
Like a famous somebody. I don't remember who. Guys, probably. If you remember, reach out. Let us know. Don't be a stranger.
What man is shaving his genital fur into like a heart or a star for us?
Not a guy that I want to be with. Let's be real. No dude that I'm attracted to.
It all seems
fucking-lutely not.
It all seems wild. I'm here to tell you, if that is something that you're focusing on, if you're listening and you're in your 20s and you're really focusing on like how everything looks down there, I'm here to tell you that eventually I gave up caring so much.
But here's why I think that like I've had friends who've gotten divorced in their like late 30s and 40s, and they've dated much younger dudes, like dudes in their late 20s or early 30s, and the guys are always like floored by the sex or whatever. And there is that thing that people say about women who are a little bit older, like that they're great at fucking. But I think
is that a t-shirt? Great at fucking?
Yeah, 100%. But here's what I think. I think it has less to do with like, I don't even know what hormonal stuff, which like is this whole podcast today is about this, really, basically about our vaginas and the hormones contained within our bodies. But I think it has to do with the releasing of the stuff that we hold on to, like the societal stuff that we hold on to, like about our bodies. As you get older, you just have to let it go. You can't hold that stuff forever.
Yeah.
I mean, some people do, I think, hold that stuff forever, but I found it at a certain point untenable. So like you just fucking release it. And then once you release it, you're like, oh, this is like a very basic thing that we all do. And I can be great at this.
Yeah. It's just like
I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna be good at it.
Be good at it, and just like don't care what kind of noises you're making, what kind of tearing up the room you're doing.
But I think I was just like so insecure.
Yeah.
And
you're like
I had
worried,
trauma too.
Yeah,
Let's
you're
be
gonna
real.
Yeah, you're worried that you're gonna like show a vulnerable part of yourself that you don't want to be seen, and that's totally understandable. That's totally understandable. But it is interesting that that your nature, you feel like your nature took over like psychological things eventually.
I think that is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, and I think in my specific instance, I think that I was like rewarded greatly for the shedding of the insecurities that I was like holding on to.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I got like basically a whole second career out of it. Hi guys, welcome to the podcast. My name is Busy Phillips. This is Busy Phillips doing her best. I'm joined by Caissie St. Ange.
Hello.
Okay.
And then, I was also going to say for me, a little bit of a biological last hurrah, probably, if I was like being honest.
Right. You're like, fucking put a baby in this uterus.
Yeah. And also, I think maybe I'm just reading into it, but also like while you're in that biological last hurrah, you're probably also biologically trying to, if evolution is true, trying to make an impression on your partner to be like, remember this, remember how amazing this is, because even after babies aren't a possibility, still going to want to come back for some of this, you know?
That's an interesting theory. I enjoy it. Hey guys, did you know that an estimated 5 billion plastic hand soap and cleaning bottles are thrown away each year? What? 5 billion? And each bottle can be made of more than 90% water. okay, so stop wasting water and throwing out more plastic. This is where you're going to get Blue Land's revolutionary refill cleaning system instead. Blue Land was founded on the belief that a cleaner planet starts at home. It's a very simple idea. You buy the bottle once and you refill it forever. There's no more plastic waste.
So good.
It's amazing. And they're like, honestly, very beautiful, Instagrammable bottles. You just fill them up with warm water. You pop in a hand soap or a spray cleaner tablet. And within minutes, you have powerful and effective cleaning products in the most incredible sense, like rose, bergamot, and lily mint. Blue Land also has convenient laundry and dishwasher tabs that come in chic and compact refillable metal containers instead of like big, bulky, disposable plastic tubs. They are stunning and high quality bottles that you keep forever, and they start at just $10 when you buy a kit. And they're meant to be reused forever and ever and ever with money-saving refill tablets that start at just $2. You have not paid just $2 for spray cleaner ever.
Ever.
Never in our lifetime.
No.
Maybe our grandmas did. We don't know. So guys, let's do this all together. Cut out plastic waste without sacrificing clean. Get Blue Land. You're going to love it. I promise. The planet's going to thank you. And we don't need any more plastic out there. That is just true.
No, and I need my stuff to look cute. So
it looks so cute. It's so cute.
It's a perfect win-win.
It's a win-win. It's what we in the biz call a win-win. So right now you can get 15% off your first order when you go to blueland.com/best. That's 15% off your first order of any products Blue Land has at blueland.com/best. blueland.com/best. Each and every day I put on each and every way I put on each and every in my pets. I love my each and every. Come on.
You went for it.
I really did. I wasn't expecting that. That's amazing. Listen, we love to use products from brands we trust, brands that are upfront about what they do and how they do it. It's why we love each and every. It's why it's one of a favorite of ours. It's a natural deodorant we know we can count on. I have been on the natural deodorant train for as long as I can remember, and it is difficult to find ones that actually work.
Yes.
We know this.
Yes.
Here's the deal with each and every. We know exactly what we're putting on our bodies. It works so well. I smell good. I feel dry. It doesn't irritate my skin. It goes on very soft and smooth. It's not like the one time when I tried a natural deodorant that was literally a rock. I don't know why that was a thing, but it was like a sharp-edged rock.
Yes.
It was essentially just like rubbing a crystal in my pit, and it didn't work, and it hurt. So not with each and every. With each and every, I am loving the way that I smell, and I get all of the scents. And we use literally everyone in my house except for Cricket, because not there yet.
She's a teeny baby.
Teeny little chicken. Although I could put each and every on the bottom of her feet. You know what I mean?
She's getting to be
kidding.
that age.
You know, stinky feet kids?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love the coconut and lime. It's so great for summer, citrus and vetiver. And they also have fragrance free if you're not like a real fragrance person. But I love the fragrances are so nice and pleasant.
I like lavender and lemon. That's the one that I gravitate towards.
Yeah. I like them all. I really like them all.
But I also do get down with that coconut and lime. I had it in Birdie's little set bag while we were on set. You guys,
perfect.
I love each and every. They believe that deodorant should have nothing to hide. They're right. It spends so much time on your body.
Yes.
And right up in there, right next to your boobs.
Yeah.
Their deodorant's formulated with 6 safe, simple ingredients: Dead Sea salt, coconut oil, natural essential oils. There's no baking soda. And it's even been found to fight odor as well as an antiperspirant without any aluminum. It's also Emily Beebe I'm just calling out Emily Beebe because that's my vegan best friend. But Each and Every is vegan and cruelty free, and it comes sustainably packaged.
Beebe texts me to get the Each and Every code, right?
Hilarious. Well, I'm going to give it to them right now. We want you to see for yourself how awesome Each and Every is. We have an amazing deal to get you started. 30% off your first purchase. Go to our URL, eachandevery.com/best, and use promo code BEST30. Seriously, 30% off can't be beat. Use promo code BEST30 at eachandevery.com/best. Hey, Caissie, what were you doing your best at this week? And also, can we just have one real quick Lincoln health update? Because everybody wants to know.
Yeah.
And I saw Lincoln. I did actually go to Jar. And I had a drink, although it was like a whole, anyway, it was super fun. But Lincoln was there. Tell me how he's doing. Just give us all like the quick.
He's doing good. He's, still undergoing tests and still narrowing things down and just coming up on another appointment to go over the findings of everything. But, he's just so great. He's like, I had to dash out yesterday for an errand and he really didn't want to come, even though that's, kind of where we're at, is that like, it's, we're not supposed to really leave him alone, I guess, for the time being. And, and he was just like, let me just text you like every couple of minutes that I'm doing great. And so that's what he did, just like doing okay. And so he's been really good about just taking everything really seriously, and he seems like he's doing well, knock on wood. So thank you everyone for being so wonderful about that, because he appreciates it and we certainly appreciate it.
I mean, Lincoln's the best. If Shantira were here, we know that she would say, my son. Well, good. So wait, what are you doing your best at this week?
I have been just trying to be thoughtful and get into like a creative space and figure out what's next and like how we're going to proceed in this like rise of the Delta variant and what that's going to mean for work and everything. But the thing that I'm really like channeling my energy into is, that like I find a lot of comfort in like trying to invent things. Like I love to be creative. I love to make up a story.
I didn't see this one coming. I really didn't see that this was where it was
But one thing that I think is really comforting is to like come up with on paper like inventions. I'm like if Joy Mangano never did shit, like I'm always like have like a million little sketches and things.
Well, to be fair, can I just say something? To be fair, like you make shit all the time, but also this is the thing that Linda Cardellini said to me when I was fucking 19 years old about acting. But it's applicable to like almost anything in life. It's why people play the lottery. It's why people do anything. It only takes one.
Yes, it's true.
It only takes one idea to change your life. It only takes one chance meeting to change your life. It only takes one movie role to change your career.
It's true.
It only takes one stupid thing that you say in a magazine about your daughter telling you not to use a slur anymore to change your life. Just kidding, Matt Damon. Just kidding.
Don't be
We're
mad.
not dragging.
A lot. So I've just been like really like dicking around with like inventions. And like the one thing that I really want to crack is some type of salad system, a home salad system that would enable you to make great salads like on a whim. Because
do you remember Suddenly Salad?
Yes, I do remember.
It was cold pasta salad.
Cold pasta salad. Right,
and you would boil it came in this mesh bag.
Yes.
That had the pasta and the little like bits of bell pepper and like pimento and shit or whatever it was inside this little mesh bag. And you would boil it on the stove, and then you in a bowl would mix their seasoning packet with oil.
Dressing. Yes. I remember that. My Nana really loved that. And I think it was like considered like a fancy item and maybe not necessarily for
really
kids.
Loved it?
Barb?
No. I did. And it was one of my go-to after school snacks. And I would make it for myself, and I would eat a whole fucking giant mixing bowl of suddenly salad.
Oh my gosh.
Sometimes couldn't even wait for it to cool down in the fridge. I just would eat that shit hot.
That warm suddenly salad.
And sometimes I would put it in the freezer to like flash cold it.
Cool it.
So flash cool it. So that I could just get that suddenly salad right into my body while I was watching Oprah and then Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
That was
a ritual, after school
I tried
ritual.
to buy it that long ago.
Did they don't still have it?
I don't know. Let me look.
It seems like the kind of thing that could be in a warehouse from 1994 still.
Suddenly salad. You guys, we can get it. We can get it at Target. We can get it at Vons. We can get it. Guys, Betty Crocker, would you like to advertise on this podcast? Because do I have a pitch for you? I just did it.
A several-minute commercial for Suddenly Salad.
You guys, first of all, just go to that Betty Crocker page. Oh my God. Here's the problem though. Like I don't really eat pasta anymore.
They have to update it for the times.
I need this to be a chickpea pasta suddenly salad.
Yeah, they need to let me just, you could also just make chickpea pasta and put salad dressing on it. That is pretty much what suddenly salad is.
Wow. Well, except
you need your little pouch of pimentos.
I really like that little pouch. But also now that I'm looking at this like pasta salad with the dressing on it, I do feel like maybe I should make a chickpea cold pasta salad with dressing and like tomatoes and celery and little bits of green pepper and stuff. Chopped. It looks delicious.
Hero. You'll be a household hero. My grandmother used to make like 3 bean salad all summer and a thing called copper carrots, which was like a sliced pickled carrot salad. She was really big on a lot of tuna salads in my family. But I ate
tuna salad yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, just going back to like, I want to make like an item that works in your refrigerator that's basically a home salad bar. And I'll tell you, like, everybody's like, oh, just get Tupperware or whatever, like Gladware. I don't want to open 1,000 fucking containers. I want to have like one thing that you lift out of your refrigerator. You take one big top off.
Okay, wait. Are we doing the meal prep? Are we doing the prep?
Yes,
of the
I would do the prep
salad?
because
No, not we. Like I'm a part of this company, Caissie. I don't know if this is right for us.
We in my house would chop the veggies.
Wait. So the customer. Okay, I'm the customer.
Yes.
What am I getting?
You basically are getting like a sizable container that maybe half of it could contain chopped lettuce, and then had other individual smaller containers with your salad toppings, chopped tomatoes, chopped cucumbers, chickpeas if you like, chopped chicken if you like, bacon bits if that's what you want, onions, however many you could fit, but just so that everything is sort of within a larger container that you just take one top off. And then you can dip into whatever you want to make your salad very quickly, put the top back on, pop it back in your fridge. That's it.
It would keep the other stuff fresh.
Yeah, it would keep everything fresh because the one top would be the top for everything. And you wouldn't have to take off 9, 10, 11, 12 individual tops.
Well, I'm sold.
Because I think that's the problem. People say they get bored of salads, and salads are very exciting. It's just that you need a variety of...
Salad bars are very exciting.
Yes.
Everybody loves salad bars.
We basically need a version of a home salad bar. If someone owns some type of plastics company and wants to go in with me on, what would we call it?
Suddenly salad, I think.
The salad library.
The salad bar. I think it should be called the salad bar.
The salad
bar.
bar.
Also, I think we should look into like a recycled plastics company.
Yes, of course.
Someone that's using, I think what we need to do is we need to use ocean trash plastic.
Yes, ocean trash plastic. And also we should have an option where like if you get sick of your salad bar or a piece of it breaks, send it back to us. We'll like recycle it back into like another salad bar for someone else. But
and the salad bar lives in your fridge. It doesn't travel with you.
Yeah,
but you maybe do have a travel version.
A travel version. Yeah, like a little lunch. Like you go into your salad bar in the morning, make yourself a smaller salad, and then you have your travel version to take to work.
But the consumer of the salad bar is doing the actual meal prep. They're cutting up the vegetables and toppings and putting it in the thing.
Yes. But here's something
that part.
Here's something you might not know about me. My husband in college worked for a caterer, and so he's very familiar with every type of like industrial catering kitchen item. So there's like a lettuce chopper that you just do one stroke and it chops all your lettuce. I'm the type of bitch that will go to a restaurant supply store and buy that so I don't have to chop lettuce. I'm like, I consider this an investment in me eating lettuce every day. So I will think of any trick in the world to be slightly more lazy doing like a thing that normal people do. What Mina Harris, Mina Harris, one time I tweeted about how everybody was like, I would eat kale, but it's like such a pain in the ass to massage kale, to have a kale salad. And I was like, no, you put it in your mixer with the paddle mixer. You just mix it for a few minutes. It's massaged. You don't have to touch it. And Mina Harris, who like I idolize, was like, oh my God, that's genius. And I've never been more proud of like a Twitter reaction than Mina Harris telling me my idea for lazy kale was a good idea.
I mean, I really enjoy all of this. I recently have been trying to eat healthier since I've been in LA, and the produce, is real good here.
Yeah.
And we've had the farmer's market, whatever. But I do find the prep just an arduous process, and it's like then everything's I just hate it. I don't love it.
That to me calls for another invention. Just something where
that's
you
what I'm saying.
Line everything up and like push something down like some type of printing press, and all your shit's chopped. Like
it's funny though. Like I just had this conversation with BB. Wait, hold on. Why is Birdie calling me? But here's what I was going to say. Fuck. What was I going to say?
We were talking about inventions for chopping all your.
Well, I lost it. I lost my thread.
If you think of it. Well, so that's what I've been really focused on this week. I don't know if that's a sign of something that I need to have diagnosed, that's what I'm obsessed with, or.
Here's what I want to say. I was going to talk to you about this, but let's just talk about it here.
Okay.
Wait, are you working on that screenplay?
Yes.
I want you to write it. How are you doing? How are you doing on it? Because you've never written a screenplay, and I know that's hard, and it's like a difficult thing to do when you haven't ever done a thing before. However, I feel like the way that you so clearly know the story and how extensive the outline is, it feels like the first spit draft should be like
quick,
almost pretty quick.
Yes. I am trying to like pay a little bit of attention to things that I normally don't pay attention to. So that might be taking me a little longer. And I think like the intimidation factor is taking me a little longer. But then my mantra is always like, stupider people than I have done this before.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like I know people, and I do not want to say who.
But people who are very stupid.
No, but people who have made movies.
Yes.
And written scripts and gotten the movies made based on on a script that like, it was like they vomited in their sleep or whatever.
Yes. And I think people have written really good scripts really fast, and people have taken years to write scripts that weren't so good. And so there's really no point in like making myself insane over it.
No, for sure not. But I do want to, I love this salad bar idea, Caissie. I do not want you to think that I'm discouraging you.
Yes.
But I also like, really think that that's a thing that would be really great for you to accomplish.
Yes.
And do.
Working
and I also
on
was even going to say, like, if because sometimes like structural stuff is the stuff that always like would stop me.
Yes.
Until I just finally, I had a partner who like did the structural stuff for me.
Yeah.
Which was like, that's amazing. Once
Yes.
you have somebody to like, just like take your ideas and like put them into a thing.
It's very helpful. I also have this thing where I'm like, I have a little bit of a hard time. Tell me if you're like this. If I'm like, oh, geez, I only have 1 hour to work on something. And like, that's practically worthless because by the time I settle in, it's only 40 minutes and I'll have to like stop 10 minutes before I do the next thing. So I have this thing with, and this has been with books that I've written as well, where I'm like, if I can just get like 3 days where I can crank on this, I'll write half of this book. No joke. But then that never happens. So I have to be like a little bit smarter about that. My husband is amazing at writing in all the little swaths of time that happen in the course of like a regular day between taking the dogs for a walk and whatever else he fucking does. I don't know. He does a lot of shit. He's always doing something. But I am like the kind of person that I have this it's a false and not helpful idea that I have to like barricade myself in somewhere and be isolated for a certain amount of time. And that's just, it's not realistic.
It's not realistic.
Yeah.
And I'm always like astounded by people who make it realistic for themselves and their lives. And are like, I just had to leave everyone and go to Palm Springs for 4 days by myself. And I'm like, wait, what? And you wrote, oh, okay.
And guess what? Guess how much I would dick around in Palm Springs.
Oh, by the way, I'm not writing the fucking script in Palm Springs. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way in hell I am. No, that's just not happening.
Yes.
So, no, that's not how I work. But I would, yeah, I mean, I would say, like, even if you only had 20 minutes, like, that's fine.
Yeah. Just get
to
a
do
page done.
some work. Yeah.
Get one
but
page.
like, yeah, but you like, I do feel like, because then this was the idea that I had, was that I could help you by helping you with the, like, structurally, like, literally just like, I know, does this sound weird to you? Do you know what was like my biggest obstacle in writing a script?
What?
Was the like format.
Yeah, that's a little, that's tricky.
Dialogue was like, story is not my issue.
Yeah.
My issue was like format and how do I do it?
Yeah.
But I could help you with that if you wanted.
You're so nice. Well, okay. Let's reevaluate and I'll put the salad. I mean, the salad bar can happen simultaneously because the idea is already there. I just need someone to help me make it. You know,
I just need a recycled plastics fabricator.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure she's out there.
I know she is.
And ready to
Speaking
help
of which,
us.
I remember that I had some kelp noodle salad in the fridge, some cold kelp noodle salad.
How are you feeling about it?
Arajuan,
your favorite.
It's delicious. It's so good. It's like pesto-y and it has massaged kale in it.
Oh, there you go.
Kelp noodles and some little cherry tomatoes. And you know what? It's delightful. Hello Fresh, Hello Fresh, Hello Fresh. What's for dinner? Hello Fresh. Maybe? I mean, I have some ideas. I love Hello Fresh. I love it. With Hello Fresh, you're getting fresh, pre-measured ingredients, mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. You can skip those trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why, that is one of the many reasons, but that is why it is America's #1 meal kit.
It's also #1 because it really tastes good.
It really tastes delicious. HelloFresh cuts out stressful meal planning and grocery store trips, less prep, less effort, minimal cleanup. So you can just enjoy like the cooking and the making and get dinner on the table in like 30 minutes. Just about 30 minutes, I feel like.
Yeah.
You choose from 50 menu and market items each week, from vegetarian meals to craft burgers. Special gourmet options are available. There's like something for everyone to enjoy All the recipes designed and tested by professional chefs and nutritional experts. So it ensures deliciousness and simplicity. And this summer, did you get a grill pack? They've been doing these HelloFresh has everything to get grilling.
So
they have
good.
grilling bundles, burger packs, surf and turf. And honestly, it all means less shopping and more sizzle on your grill.
I really like it. I know that you don't like to prep a lot when you're cooking.
Hate it.
Yeah. And frankly, it's just, for me, the value is just having someone introduce something that I just make the same thing over and over if left to my own devices. So to have HelloFresh show me all these amazing things that I can choose
you know how
from.
many times my children are like, turkey bolognese again, Mom? Before I got HelloFresh.
Yeah.
And then sometimes my kids are like, I don't know if I'm going to like this. I'm like, you just have to have one bite. And they try it and they're like, oh my God, it's amazing.
It's very good.
Sometimes I just don't even say you have to have one bite. I just put it down in front of them. And I go, well, you'll eat if you're hungry.
Oh my God.
And they always do because they
always
love
do.
HelloFresh, just like me. And it just saves me time.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm like, oh, it's 5:00 and I realized I didn't think about starting dinner yet for everyone. Okay. And if Cricket doesn't eat by 5:45, well, you don't even want to know what happened. It is a meltdown.
It's a reverse gremlin.
It's a reverse gremlin. Yeah. So, guys, we worked out an amazing deal. Go to HelloFresh.com/14best and use code 14best for up to 14 free meals plus free shipping. So go to HelloFresh.com/14best. So it's the number 14BEST. And then use the code 14BEST for up to 14 free meals plus free shipping. I mean, that is amazing. And it's America's #1 meal kit. Bev, I'm gonna drink forever. Oh, no. That is, oh boy. Well, maybe. Guys, we love Bev. You know how important it is for us to support female-founded and run businesses. I'm obsessed with the Bev Rosé. I had some last night.
And I think we love Bev, but our listeners also seem to really love Bev. I love Bev. When you send us pictures of your Bevs.
By the way, I should have taken a picture. I was in Emily Beebe's backyard last night.
Yeah.
And I was like, and Beebe was having a white wine, whatever. And I was like, I really want a rosé. And Beebe says well, guess what I have in the fridge? Bev.
So
because
perfect.
Beebe used our code and got Guys, is Emily Beebe the only person using these codes? No, she is not. I know you guys love Bev out there. They have 4 varietals of their wine that comes in a little can.
Yes.
It's like a glass and a half of wine.
And you can choose
perfect.
either Rosé, Sauv Blanc, Pinot Gris, or Pinot Noir. And it's 1.5 glasses of wine for 1 can. Perfect.
And so you don't have to open a whole bottle for yourself.
Right.
You can just have a glass and then you're like, that was great. Thank you.
Yes.
And then you can open another can and say, thank you again.
Thank you some more.
Guys,
zero sugar.
0 sugar, 3 carbs, 100 calories per serving. It's super refreshing and delicious. I'm actually a little annoyed I don't have Bev in this rental house. And I feel like I'm going to use my own code. And I'm going to get some sent here immediately.
Order it.
I'm not even kidding.
Yeah,
I'm going to do it. Because Bev ships straight to your door and shipping is always free. So we worked out our deal for Busy Phillips is Doing Her Best podcast listeners. You can receive 20% off your first purchase plus free shipping on all orders. We suggest trying their best-selling Ladies Night Variety Pack so you can check out all their delicious varietals. Or if you're just really into rosé like me, get the rosé. It's really delicious. Anyway, go to drinkbev.com/busy or use code busy at checkout to claim the deal. That's inventions.com/busy. Have you started reading that book?
Yes, I did start, but very, very little because, I want to savor it, not crank through it because we have to figure out what we're doing for book club. So,
guys, we're going to make it a reality. So just get that book.
Hundreds of people. The book is Nobody is Talking About This.
No one is talking about this.
No one is talking about this. And it's by Patricia
Lockwood.
And get on, either buy it or borrow it from the library. I've been hearing from people that there's a little bit of a waiting list at the library. So get on
There's
the list.
There's a wait at the library, guys.
Yeah, get on the list. And then we'll do a book club and we'll figure out. I think we need to I don't think it can be a bonus episode of the podcast. I think it has to be something where people can talk back to us in real time.
Oh, it's a live event.
Yeah. So,
and unlike the unsuccessful book club that I tried to join in my 20s to discuss Girl with the Pearl Earring, I will not be stoned.
There you go. Well, yeah. I mean,
I might get stoned while we do it, but I'm not going to start. I'm not going to start stoned.
Okay. And also one thing that I've been obsessed with this week is there's like a documentary called Glitch in the Matrix that's on Netflix. Yes, my husband put it on because he was like, "Oh, this is what you always say in the podcast." So I started watching it, but I've fallen asleep on it every night for like a week in a row. No shade to the documentary. That's all shade to me, like being exhausted. But the acute device is that, in a documentary, different people talk about their experience and their thoughts or whatever, and they're shown like, in a little talking head scenario. But in this documentary, they sort of put a filter turning the person into like an animated fantasy character, which is cute. But except I was watching the documentary for so long, listening to this like cute animated character. And I must have like looked away when they chironed his name. But like come to find out, it's like a longtime social media friend, Paul Good, talking about how he might believe that we're living in a simulation. And I was like, oh my God, holy shit, I know that guy. But he looks like some type of lion warrior.
I don't know who made this documentary, but I do feel like it's kind of rude that they didn't want to talk to me.
I mean, it is. And it could have used a little like female flavor.
Of course.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm on a fucking moment today where I like, first of all, guys, no shade to other people's podcasts, but I like heard this thing about the podcast that like Jason Bateman and Will Arnett and Sean Hayes have.
Oh yeah,
Smartless.
What is that called? Smartless, yeah.
Well, first of all, guys, I've never listened to it. It's not for me.
People love it. And
it's like hugely rated,
hugely popular, millions of
not
downloads.
3 hours,
right?
So let me just say that it is definitely like more mass appeal because, first of all, those guys are like all hugely famous,
big
people,
stars,
and they're really funny and like whatever. So I get like their podcast. I understand is so much bigger than this podcast. I get it. But did you hear what they fucking sold it for to Amazon?
Oh my God,
their
no.
catalog?
No,
$50 million or something.
Wow, that's
or 100. I mean.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's look it up. I need to Google this.
Well, for anyone at home listening and thinking that that's what every podcast makes, it is not.
Well, that's the thing. It's like
nearly
insane. So I was talking to a friend of mine who is like definitely whatever, he is contemplating doing a podcast.
Yes.
And part of it was like incoming calls, people asking.
Yes.
And, the person like referenced this deal in our conversation. And I was like, well, listen, maybe you will be able to get that because you're a dude.
It was $80 million to
you guys. The fuck?
To be fair, but they have to split it 3 ways, right?
You could see my face, guys, but you don't need to. You know
That's
what my
only
face looks like.
$28 million per guy.
for 3 white dudes who were already rich and famous. But the good news is, guys, they're all giving 70% of it to charity.
You just decided.
JK. I'm sure they give so much to charity. Sorry, I'm a little snippy today because I think I'm PMSing. I mean, I know I'm PMSing, and I'm just like, ugh, you know, everything feels like the future. I had to go to the Apple store at the Grove last week, and because I had this really weird thing happen to my whatever. It doesn't even matter. I'm getting a new email address and whatever. It's fine. And like I felt like I was in the future. Like the Ted Lasso advertisements that are like up everywhere inside the Apple store made me feel like I was like in a Judd Apatow movie where that is like a fake TV show that a character played by Jason Sudeikis is starring on.
Yes.
It was like, it felt all so meta. And then I was just like, I ran into a person that Caissie and I had done business with. And that's part of my bitterness about podcasts.
That was a funny little Matrix joke. A funny little simulation joke.
Well, oh my God. Then, wait, I mean, all of this, guys, get the book. No One Is Talking About This, please, by Patricia Lockwood, so you can join our live book club. It'll happen sometime between the end of August and the end of September. I cannot tell you the date yet. You just have to have read the book to participate. It's not like a quiz, but if you haven't read the book, I will know. But anyway, wait, listen.
Okay.
I had therapy yesterday for like 2 hours, and I had not been able to do therapy last week because obviously I was being a set mom and I was with Birdie every day on set. And then my one day off was a dramatic mess, and that was the day I ran into the person that we had bad. We have, as Taylor Swift would say, bad blood.
Yes.
What was funny about the person was that as soon as they saw me, like, sort of surprisingly, we saw each other sort of surprisingly, like all of a sudden we like sort of, I don't want to explain how, but like we sort of like appeared before one another,
ran into each other.
And I could see the glitch in their brain where they thought, oh, friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I was like, and they were like, hey guys, how's it going? Like that was like the first instinct.
Yes.
And then I was like, ugh. Like I just was already in such a shitty mood because I was already having like a very dramatic situation that day. It wasn't great. It didn't do much for my mood. So anyway, I had therapy yesterday for 2 hours. And I said internet instead of universe on accident 2 times.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's really.
And then she said, and I think that this is right, like the universe provides information for you when you need the information. Like when you need to know the thing show, like 99.9% of the time, the thing shows up. If you don't need that information, it doesn't need to show up for you.
Right.
You have to just like believe that shit. You got to just like move through life like that. Because if you don't, you're constantly in a state of like feeling, oh, that's the worst feeling. Feeling like someone's not telling you something or someone's being dishonest with you.
Right.
I mean, everyone, the universe is being dishonest with you. Just trust that information comes when you need it.
Yeah.
Gina, what are you doing? Gina's like all tangled up in my cords over here.
Oh my gosh.
But wait, speaking of which.
Yeah.
Gawker's coming back.
Saw. Well, I sent it to you.
There's have we talked about Dumois? Yeah, we have.
Yes, Dumois, which is basically Gawker Stalker on Instagram.
Which is why I that's my theory as to why Gawker's relaunching.
Because Dumois is
very popular.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very, very popular. Well, I've now guys, I don't want to encourage it because I think it's so shady, but now I just have a tendency to look at the Instagram stories on Dumois.
Yeah.
Do you ever watch them?
Mm-mm.
That's where they post all the sightings, guys, of people being like, Caissie St. Ange in a podcast sweatshirt
At Jar.
At Jar.
Busy Phillips came by.
That's where that's like, it's all in the Instagram stories. Okay. There was like a crazy thing that happened over the weekend that made me laugh.
What?
I guess like BJ Novak was I guess this has happened to more than one guy on Dumois, more than one single dude on Dumois. Basically, BJ Novak was like in New York. I don't know if he lives there. Maybe he does. I haven't seen him in a long time. I've known BJ literally forever.
Yeah.
And and a bunch of people had different sightings of him with different girls.
Oh, no.
And the girls also follow Dumois.
Oh, no.
So then the girls were like, okay, well, interesting. And then wrote into Dumois. So it was like this whole, and it was like his birthday weekend. And first of all, I mean, guys, you know, he's like he's a single dude who's like been on TV forever. Like, I don't know what you think, what's happening, you know? It didn't seem particularly like any of the girls were super scandalized. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, it didn't seem like any of them were like really in like some deep thing.
Yeah.
But it was kind of funny. And then there were like two other dudes who I guess this has happened to on Dumois.
Oh, dear.
I know. Which is just like, I don't know. In a way, I'm sort of like, I mean, I don't care. But it does seem like kind of a bummer. I'm trying to think. I was trying to like figure out how I felt about it. Or if I felt anything about it.
I mean, I guess you can't really stop it. It's weird that it's all aggregated in one place that people can go to now. But I guess if you're in the public eye, you can't really stop people from taking pictures of you, no matter who you're with. And there's always a chance that anyone would be, you know, even when I worked for Dave Letterman, like I had a situation where before I even had a cell phone to blow up, my home phone blew up with people saying, "Oh my God, you're on hard copy," because someone had filmed me walking with David Letterman to his car at the garage.
Guys, Hollywood break, hard copy. What? This isn't a Hollywood break. This is like an old person break.
Yeah, this is
hard
like
copy was like a news magazine, like quote on a news tabloid
like
show.
a pre-TMZ.
A pre-TMZ news tabloid show that was mostly celebrity gossip, but then they would like throw in like a missing person story or something,
or
right?
or like a
murder mystery.
Dachshund ate its owner or whatever. Like weird.
I hope that's not a story that they covered.
I mean, who knows?
I don't want a dachshund to eat one.
I don't either. But I was like,
that's really funny.
I was
filmed
you're
on hard copy.
You're on hard copy with Dave. Like they're saying an unidentified female. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I mean, they didn't try very hard to identify me. Very easy. Very easy.
Could have identified me. That's really funny. Well, anyway, Gina, don't eat my shoe. No. I don't know what I don't know. I guess it's like, it's fine. I just like, it was kind of funny, but then I was like, I felt bad that I thought it was kind of funny. And then I was like, why do I feel bad that but I don't know. It's just because it all feels like an invasion. But at the same time, one of the girls was like, I'm actually really glad because like, I just like know that it is what I thought it was.
Right.
You know,
right.
like, I don't know. But
and I also feel like though every girl could probably get like a movie deal themselves now. I bet they could write a movie based on.
Well, let me tell you something. They need to just spit that draft out. You know what I mean? They need to just get it out. They need to get it out.
Yes.
Caissie, you got to get it out.
I'm going to tell them and myself. Mm-hmm. But what are you... Wait. Before we move on, I do want to recommend a book to you, and it's old, and maybe you already read it. But I think it goes along with the book that we're currently obsessing over, and it goes along with you saying about your feeling about Ted Lasso in the Apple Store.
Okay,
It is a short story collection by George Saunders called In Persuasion Nation.
Oh. Why did that sounds familiar. That sounds familiar to me.
You've probably read some stories that were published in some stories from it were published in the New Yorker, Harper's Bazaar, Esquire at the time. It was written in I think it was published in 2005, but the stories
2006, April 20th.
Okay. Yeah, but the stories were stories that had come out since going back to 1999. George Saunders is one of my favorite authors, one of my favorite writers, and I just want you to read it because I actually want you to read it, and I want you to video record your face as you read it so that I can watch it on a time lapse. I want to recognize you seeing the prescience in this book.
Got it. I'm in.
That's
I'm gonna
not
go
too
get
much
it.
of a project, is it?
No. I'm gonna go get it from the local indie bookstore.
Yes.
I also have been trying to get the book from Alok V. Menon. Beyond the Gender Binary.
Okay.
But it's not, I can't get it anywhere. It's so weird.
Oh,
so I have to order it.
interesting.
And I have to say something about books. Two things. Number one, I have to have an actual book. I am not a person that can read on a Kindle or an iPad or what have you. That's number one. Number two, I want to go to an independent bookstore only, but I always want them to have exactly what I want. And sometimes that is just not possible. So maybe what I should do is call ahead and then they can order it and then they'll call me when it comes in and then I won't be disappointed.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting.
I think that's the way to go because there's nothing worse. I know everybody's doing their best, but there's nothing worse than asking if a store, independent or chain, has something and they say, no, but we can order it for you. And then I'm like,
so disappointing.
I mean, I know I can also order it for me.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I'm here now with dollars in my hand.
I'd like it right now.
Yes.
Is what I would like. Okay, well, I can't wait to do that. So
yeah. What are you doing your best at this week, though?
Oh, wait, I guess I did buy the book. I just got a notification.
You're not doing your best at remembering that you bought that book already that you wanted.
That's okay.
That's all right.
I'm doing my best. What am I doing my best at? Oh, okay. A couple of things. Number one, I've decided that I want to stop doing gel extension nails. That I'm over it after all these years. It's been 12?
Wow.
or something.
That's a long time.
I think I just didn't do it when I was pregnant with Cricket.
Yeah.
I think I started really getting them after Birdie.
Okay.
When I was on Cougar Town. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think I didn't do it while I was pregnant with Crix. Seems arbitrary. I don't know why I made that choice. Who knows? But I've done it for a long time. My nails are wrecked. And at one time in my life, I did have nice nails that weren't peely and hard. But I'm also afraid that maybe that's just menopause shit. Guys,
right.
I don't know.
Which we're going
to talk to Stacy about.
London about how that is having shitty nails is a symptom of menopause.
Well, but it also could be a symptom of having hard gel.
It could be a combination. It could be, it could be anything.
So I've made that decision.
Okay.
And then the second thing that I've been doing my best at or trying to do my best at, working toward, self-love. Did Gina bark right when I said it? She did. Motherfucker.
It's okay.
How am I supposed to love myself when everyone just barks all over me all the time?
It's a lot.
No, self-love. Loving, not just loving myself, but really what the fuck is that? And what does it mean? And how do I actually embrace it in terms of Yeah, I think like I'm fucking great at so many like I'm great at stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like I have a lot, but I am so hard on myself.
Yeah.
And I feel a great deal of like guilt.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time for stuff that I don't know. I just like had this fucking epiphany literally on Sunday. It's like 2 days ago that I don't like a lot of things that I've like let go of. I do not need to hold some guilt about things that like really isn't it's not mine. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But like also like people's expectations of me, if it doesn't work out for them in the way that they were their expectation, I would always feel super guilty.
Right.
But I just had this like, oh shit, like that's their work actually. And I'm not saying that that's an excuse for me to be like a shitty person or whatever.
Right.
You know that I'm like always trying, but I also really relate to that Taylor Swift lyric. You know, I think I told you that I let Birdie pick the music on the way to and from work every day.
Okay, yeah.
I just thought, you know, when I would go to work on a show, I needed to like listen to music, get myself like into a vibe or whatever.
Yeah.
So I heard literally every Taylor Swift and Olivia Rodrigo song that has, I mean, there are many more Taylor Swift songs than Olivia Rodrigo songs out there, but I heard them repeatedly. So many repeatedly. But anyway, there is a Taylor Swift lyric that's like one thing that's true about me, like I try and I try and I try, which I think is like, I'm referencing Taylor Swift now on this podcast. I can't even, Caissie, please. I like, you know what I mean?
Listen, I mean,
I know. Relatable.
And you have to you can't control what's relatable to you either. You know what I mean? Sometimes you find wisdom in the darndest places that you never expected to. And so, you know, big props to Taylor Swift. Like she is incredibly relatable in so many ways.
But I think that thing of like pushing, trying, it like never occurred to me that part of what I need to do before I push and try is to figure out why I'm doing it. And then let myself off the fucking hook of spiraling in like guilt or shame or whatever. And also like, you know, in relationships with like pre-existing relationships, when people have these things that they like put on me, I think that I'm just having finally like a therapy breakthrough or whatever, where I'm like, oh, I would just take it all on.
Right.
And even if I would like fight about it with whoever in my life, I would still take it on and then like feel it and feel like shit. Just feel like shit. I think people, I don't know if people would be surprised. No, you guys follow me on Instagram. You listen to this fucking podcast. You've already made it like an hour and 10 minutes in or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? You probably aren't surprised to know that I have spent a great deal of my life feeling terrible, like feeling like shit about lots of stuff in many different ways. And like just having the compassion for myself and the realization that like there are things that just are not yours, that you don't need to feel guilty about people putting stuff on you that you can't, like expectations you can't meet, or things that are outside of what you're willing to do or what you want to do. You just have to be open with yourself and with others about what it is that you're able and willing to do. And then beyond that, like let whatever guilt trip they try to give you go, because it's not for you.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it's not even intentional.
Yes, I agree.
I think it's just the way that certain people like either come into this world or the way that they're nurtured in the world versus the way someone like you comes into this world and is nurtured in this world. I'm going to try to say a quick metaphor for something. And this is like,
I love him. I love him.
No shade to my husband, but like just the other day, he has a t-shirt, like a favorite t-shirt that he likes, and it's nice. And it had like an oil stain on it, and it got set in the wash. And when he pointed it out, I immediately launched into, okay, here's what I'm looking it up on the internet. Here's what they say you have to do. And it was like this 10-step process. And do we have all the things for the process? And like, let me see it and let me do. And then I just stopped myself and I was like, wait a minute. This, like, I love this guy, but this is not my t-shirt. This is not my oil stain.
Oh my God. This is not my t-shirt. This is not my oil stain.
And I just was
That's new merch.
I just was like, and he hadn't even asked me, but he was standing there letting me do the thing that I always fucking do, which is jump in and try to solve something. And then I was like, I have 50,000 fucking problems that are like, equal.
And a script.
Yeah, and a script to write that are equal to like many oil stains that I could be tending to. And I love you and I want your life and your favorite t-shirt to be oil stain free, but this is just something I gotta leave for you because, and it's not to say that I won't ever do anything to help him out. Like, that's not the case. But I just had already gotten myself so twisted up about what it was my responsibility to take care of. And I just was like, that's not my journey or my plan for today to like work on getting an oil stain out of a t-shirt. Like, it's just, and he was like, when I said that, when I stopped myself, I explained to him why I was stopping myself and saying it's no shade to you. It's something that I'm doing to myself. And he was like, I 100% get that. And I 100% understand. And like, this is a project for me when I have time. And if it works out, great. But if it doesn't, it's not the end of the world, but it is 100% not your problem. And, I just think that like, I'm doing that and I see you doing that in relationships with people all the time. Like, even when it's something that has to do with you, it's just like, you have to love yourself as much as you would love anyone else. And I see you loving people that fuck up all the time. I see you loving people that are doing their best, but it's not what's best for you. I see you, and even like it really applies. You think about your kids, you think about things through the prism of like your kids or your parents, maybe like they do things all the time that like get you upset and cause, it's caused to have like this big conversation and sort things out, but you never don't love that person. You never lord it over that person continually for the rest of their life. The one time that they did something that hurt your feelings or let you down, you let the person live it down. And so that's my wish for you, is that like you let yourself live things down.
Yeah.
And just like once it's done, once it's dealt with and filed away, then just put it down and walk away from it like you would do for anyone else.
I think that that's like much better said than everything I've already said on this podcast. But what did you say? What was it? How did you say you would let someone else down? Down? Not down.
Would let someone live something down.
Live something down. Right. Yeah. I have. And I have. There's almost like there's only one person in my life who got like truly kicked to the fucking curb. And that took a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that was crazy.
Yeah. And I mean
that's crazy. Yeah. And that was like a huge fucking thing.
Yeah.
But I generally I'm really good about like just letting people live something down and like just like accepting apologies and moving forward and like all of that stuff.
Not only that, if someone in your life did something that hurt you or whatever, or that just even rubbed you the wrong way, and they apologized for it, and you gave them an opportunity and let them live it down, if they continued to apologize and feel bad for it, I don't think you would let them do that. I think you would say, you got to stop. You have to stop doing this, because like at this point it's not productive, and I know you're sorry, and I know, and we're past it.
Right.
So like that's also my wish for you, is that you would say to yourself, like, I got to stop. I already made amends to myself and to who I need to make amends to, if that's necessary. Or like sometimes it just is what it is. Like you did the best you can and it didn't turn out the way that anyone expected. And like, you know, you can't hold yourself responsible for things that you had no control over.
But I have.
Everyone does. I'm sure. You know what? That's not true. I think people like us do, and I think other people never do. They wouldn't even consider it. And I think
like wouldn't cross their mind.
Yeah, that must be a delightful way to walk through life. But it's kind of like
imagine.
When we were talking to Suchin Pak about when you're considering like sort of speaking out against something, and people tell you you're going to ruin this person's life, and you think about, well, how much thought did they give to my life before they did this that really affected me? You know, it's sort of like whenever I'm like stewing over something, I do always wonder, how much is the other person involved stewing over this?
Yeah, I know somebody had said that to me, like, I don't know, I feel like when I was like a child, someone said that to me, you know? But honestly, it feels to me like I can't. That doesn't work for me, because I'm always like, I don't care. I'm upset. You know what I mean? Like it literally doesn't matter.
But yeah, you can't care. You're very strong, but you're not strong enough to carry the burden of like every little pebble and stick that you come across, and every other person.
I have been doing that for a really long time. So that's what I've been doing my best at. I feel like this week, I feel like I've been doing well. Like I feel different about certain things, and like, and I hope I don't know. I hope I can continue to like breathe through it and allow myself that.
I think you will. And if I see you not, I'll let you know.
Well, thanks, Caissie. You're a real friend. Guys, today we're talking with Stacy London. If you are like me and Caissie, you remember first seeing Stacy on the TLC show What Not to Wear, where Stacy and her co-host Clinton Kelly would surprise unsuspecting people that had been nominated by their friends and family and give them a complete style makeover. It was like an Oprah makeover episode, but all the time.
But the whole show. And
that's the whole show.
I feel like they made 1 billion episodes.
Yeah. There were 2 makeovers per show, I think, right?
It was just a great show, and they made so many episodes per year,
so
and
good.
I watch everyone, and I miss it all the time.
And Stacy has taken like an interesting pivot in her life, and she's become the CEO of a brand, which is not advertising on our podcast. I just want to be clear about that.
Yes.
And we normally like, generally speaking, we get like requests for people who are like CEOs of brands to be on the pod. And it feels a little bit like kind of weird sometimes, because I'm like, well, we don't know the products. It feels confusing. But specifically in this case, I feel like this conversation was like super interesting, really important, because her product line is about like menopause symptoms. But it's also just like Stacy has a lot of knowledge now that she wants to share. And I just want to like give that little preamble before we get into it, because I don't want you to be listening to it and have in the back of your head like, wait, is this an ad for...
Yes. No. The product you can buy or not buy, but the knowledge is free, and she shared it freely, and I was really grateful to get to talk to her.
Me too. I felt like, all right, let's listen to it.
Yeah.
Genexa. Okay, guys, here's the deal. I didn't know this until I learned about Genexa. And I learned about Genexa through a friend of mine who is like a very naturally minded person. And I'm always like, I want to live the way that you live. And she was like, oh, well, here, you need to start using this stuff instead of like the traditional stuff that you've had in your medicine cabinet, because that's filled with unnecessary chemicals. But Genexa is medicine with the active ingredients you need, minus the artificial junk that your body does not need. Like, do you know that your allergy medicine that you might be taking could actually have allergens in it? That's insane.
Seems weird.
It seems antithetical to the cause. Well, Genexa is finally bringing some common sense to the medicine aisle. You want your medicine to help you feel better. I mean, you don't want it to make you feel worse. Genexa was founded by two dads who were on a mission to make clean medicines. It has the same effective active ingredients you need without artificial dyes, preservatives, and fillers. I actually had a friend whose child was allergic to artificial color.
Yeah. I've known people that are sensitive to preservatives, and
you know what I'm allergic to? The preservative maltodextrin.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, which is, by the way, in a lot of shit.
It's also, the key word here is unnecessary. If you don't
unnecessary,
need it, why is it in there?
I don't know. But they do have, Genexa has everyday essential medicines for adults, kids, and infants. It covers a variety of health issues. Your whole family is covered. They have a huge network of healthcare professionals across the U.S. helping patients and their families join the clean medicine revolution. It is real medicine. It is real medicine. It's what you need
in your medicine cabinet.
It's just made without the filler.
And also, I'll say it again, really cute packaging. My medicine cabinet is 100% cuter, full of Genexa.
I actually think that's true too. The kids stuff too.
Yeah.
Because I got a bunch of the kids stuff. So start cleaning out your medicine cabinet today. Also, by the way, it's a great time to do that no matter anyway.
Yes.
I did that when we moved and I was like, oh my God, this bottle of whatever is literally from 2015.
Yeah.
It was time to throw it out.
Time to move on. So clean your cabinet and replace everything that you need to replace with Genexa. It's better. It doesn't have unnecessary ingredients. You'll be thrilled.
Go to genexa.com/busy for 20% off your first purchase. Go to genexa.com/busy for 20% off your first purchase. Okay, so it's Genexa and it's spelled GENEXA.com/busy. Olive and June, Olive and June, Olive and June. We were talking about Olive and June naturally.
Yeah.
And here they are, advertisers on our pod.
Just because we love it.
We love it. We have fallen in love with their Manny system.
And their company,
to be honest. We have fallen in love with their company.
Yeah.
We have fallen in love with everything that Olive and June is all about. And I love them. And they're going to help me rehab my nails.
I really
think they will.
Yeah, they're going to really help you. And you're going to be able to do it yourself. And it's going to look great and last for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I don't want to go into a salon anymore because for obvious reasons.
Right.
The Olive and June Manny system makes your at-home Manny look so good and yours lasted 2 weeks. That's crazy.
Olive and June does say that their typical manicure lasts 7+ days, that their polish lasts 7+ days. I've gotten over 2 weeks out of a manicure and a pedicure, just saying.
You are just saying it has happened.
Yes.
And the bonus is that I saw your nails and honestly, it looked like you had gotten a professional manicure.
It's true. I know even someone who's equally as fancy as you asked me where I got my nails done. And I was so proudly said, I did this myself at my house.
Because part of it is this Manny system, guys, comes with everything you need, all the tools that you need to make it look perfect. It's only 5 steps. And it comes with this little silicone thing that you put on top of the nail polish that makes it easy to paint with even the hand that's not your dominant hand.
Yes.
It's wild that it works. I don't understand it, but it does.
It works because they were so thoughtful in designing it, and it just gives like a lot of surface area to grip and a little bit of weight to your hand, so that you're not so shaky. And the brushes
you're
are
so
flat.
smart. You've thought about this.
They've been so thoughtful, and they really thought about like, well, what makes it hard to paint your nails? What can we do to make it easy? And they did all of those things, and it just works so well.
Listen, also, guys, if you're on a budget, if you're on a budget, the mani system with 6 polishes breaks down to like basically $2 a mani. I mean, I don't know how much you spend when you go to the salon, but it's like usually anywhere from 20 to like $60. Like,
I mean, yeah, 20 would be a deal. Yeah.
The polish is amazing. We love it. Our nails have never looked so good. I'm just really committed to continuing with my Olive and June journey. It's my me time. I love it. It like literally soothes me to paint my nails. I love it.
Yeah.
And now you guys at home, if you've been waiting to try it out, you can get 20% off your first mani system with our code BEST. Your new nail life is here, you guys. Go get that new nail life. 20% off your first mani system when you use the promo code BEST at oliveandjune.com. We are done with expensive bad manis. This is the new us. Stacy London. Stacy, I told you this when we met years ago.
Yeah.
At South by Southwest, like the digital festival that we were both speaking on the same panel. Early days
of social media.
We had both been asked to speak on this panel. And I have been a huge fan of yours forever. You know that like.
Well, I mean, it's mutual.
Everyone's a huge fan of Stacy's. Who hasn't dreamed of having Stacy show up somewhere where you're unsuspecting and be like, everyone wants you to dress differently
better
because they love you.
And they want you to look your best.
I appreciate that.
I have a question about what not to wear.
Yes, start with that.
Let's start with that. How did that happen?
Well, it's a really good story, actually. I was a magazine editor. That was my first career. And then I got fired from the magazine that I worked for, Mademoiselle. May she rest. I loved that magazine so much. And I got fired after being there for 4 years as the senior fashion editor. New editor-in-chief came in, kind of cleaned house when it came to the fashion department. So I'd been a stylist there for many years. And I know it's very privileged to say this, but I hope that everybody, your listeners, will take this in the right way. It is, I think, essential to be fired at some point in your life. And really, I believe that because one, it's not just that it's humbling, right? It's that when one door closes, it's not that another one necessarily opens. It forces you to look for doors to open. And for me, I spent a year kind of freelance styling. I had an agent, but I wasn't doing, high fashion anymore. I was doing bank commercials and high C commercials for little kids and, dressing men and women and not necessarily 6 foot tall, 100-pound models, right? So I gained all this styling experience that really wasn't about high fashion. It was about real fashion. It was about personal style. And so when my agent at the time my styling agent got a phone call about some show and they were looking for stylists who had editorial experience and who had dressed celebrities and who had dressed models, but also knew something about, dressing real people and who could talk a lot without a script. And I was like,
you're like, hi,
here I am.
That's me.
I love to talk.
So after 8 months of, I didn't even know what the show was for. It was something with a C, right? ABC, NBC, TLC, BBC. I was like, it's a channel with a C.
All the best channels have C's. Yeah,
exactly. Channels have C's. And I met with them. I watched the show, the original English version of the show with Trini and Susanna. And I thought, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I don't want to squeeze people's boobs, and I'm not sure this is right for me.
I had never seen the British version. The first version I ever saw was you.
Well, that makes me even happier.
Okay.
But, so here we were, we had something, we had this format that we were going to follow. And, I auditioned over and over again for 8 months. And every freelance stylist in New York City was up for it, right? Some people said they got the job. Some people said they were sure they were going to get it. Some people knew they hadn't gotten it. And I just didn't know what to make of any of it. And I went on vacation in Spain with my family. It was like a big family trip. And we were in Madrid, and I get a phone call from my agent saying they want you to come back for a final, round of cuts. It was like 28 of us or 27 of us. You made it to the top 27.
I mean, that's still a lot of people.
Exactly. That's what I said. And they were like, we're going to film you at a cocktail party, and they're going to look for chemistry between the hosts. And I said, no way. You've got me on film. I've done this 1,000 times. I went to a park and pretended to do a commentary on red carpet outfits in the middle of a park near 8th Avenue, off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So, I was like, imagine Angelina Jolie is standing in front of you. I'm like, yeah, great strapless dress. Love the way it complements your curves.
Oh my God, that's literally insane.
Literally insane. So I was like, no, I'm not coming back. I'm on this family vacation. And my agent was like, okay, I'm going to talk to them and just let them know, they know that you can't come back. And my stepmother at the time, when I got off the phone, said to me, you are totally crazy. You need to go back and go to that party because you're going to go and you are going to get that job and it is going to change your life. And so I got on a plane and I went home.
Oh my God.
And I went to the party. And I got the job.
She was right.
Wow.
Was she always a psychic?
1,000% right. No, I think she really felt, and looking back, I think I feel pretty strongly about the fact that it was like, the Steve Jobs thing of connecting the dots backwards. When I think about all the experience, even my experience in studying philosophy and psychology in college, everything wound up making sense. So that when I got to What Not to Wear, it was like all of my experience bear down on that job. It's just everything I had learned up to that. All of my skills went to good use in one place.
I love that. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I have recently, I felt that with Girls 5 Eva, with that job for me. I felt like that with Michelle when she got, the one, about
Fosse
the dancers.
Verdon.
Thank you. What is wrong with my
The
brain?
what? The what?
Fosse Verdon. Verdon.
Yes.
Yes. I think sometimes there's a perfect confluence of skill sets that come into focus and you're like, oh, this is actually the thing that's going to allow me to shine so bright. I'm glad your stepmother recognized that and was like, go.
I don't know.
Get out of here.
I'm so glad too, because we were talking a little bit earlier just about what a great show What Not to Wear was. And I'm glad you didn't do it like Trini and Susanna, because I had seen that show. And it's a perfect example of how you can take a concept and make it your own and imbue it with who you are. And who you were on that show was somebody that was empowering everyone. Not everyone on that show was a model. Nobody on that show was a model. And you were taking people and just making them feel very welcomed. And you were so warm and saying you have the right to look good. You know what I mean? So for me, who's not a model, it was very instructive. And also because sometimes when you're a regular person, it's very weird. You guys probably have never experienced this, but as the regular girl in the room, people sometimes act like you don't have a right to have style. You know what I mean? They're like,
I understand what you're saying.
What are you wearing that for? What are you trying to draw attention to what you are for? And you on that show were just yes, take it. Take your style. You deserve it. And that was really super empowering. And I think it was a bigger deal than maybe a bigger deal than you realize, Stacy.
Well, I really appreciate that. And there are a couple of things that I would say about that. One, when we first started, we were told to really mimic Trini and Susanna. And what I realized very quickly is that you can get away with a lot if you have an English accent.
You're
but
not kidding. You are so not kidding. I worked for Graham Norton, and I felt like anything he was saying, if an American person tried to say it on American television, it wouldn't have flown.
And it didn't. We did 11 episodes for that first season, and I thought, that's sort of the lost season. I had a different co-host, and I thought, okay, well, I did it. I did 11 episodes. I'll be able to go back to my styling clients and say, look, I was on TV, and I'll probably be able to charge $100 more a day. And that was like the most that I was hoping for. And then, they had 3 months to decide whether or not they were going to do a second season. 4 days before that deadline, they called me and they said, we're going to do a second season and we're going to do 15 episodes. And then a couple of weeks after that, they said, we're going to fly you to LA. We want you to do chemistry tests for a new host. So we went back and forth, LA and New York. I did a ton of chemistry tests until Clinton Kelly, who touched my knee in the middle of this weird, interview that we were doing. And we just started laughing so hard that they sort of, the executives there were sort of like, yep, okay, we found our match. And then Bank of America came on as a sponsor. So we went from 15 to 60 episodes in that second season, which meant that we were doing a show and a half a week, if not more sometimes. We just never stopped working. And and for a long time, I said yes to every other opportunity. So I wound up becoming a Today Show correspondent. I did a lot of fashion segments for Oprah. Then I started doing, spokesperson stuff like Pantene and Dr. Scholl's and Woolite. And because for me, it was this unexpected gift to be able to do any of this stuff. And certainly I never thought that I would be like a hair model at 40. But, the one thing that it really taught me was that for a long time, I just never said no. And I was so worried that this kind of window of opportunity was going to close. And then what was I going to do, right? So I wanted to do everything. And the issue with that is that after 10 years, I kind of burnt out at the whole thing.
Right.
I mean, I have to be honest. It was like, it would be a Today Show in the morning, get there at 7 a.m. And then I would go to a What Not to Wear shoot. And then I would do something for Access Hollywood at night. Or I would have one day off in between shooting segments for What Not to Wear, and I would fly somewhere to do a commercial. I feel like Busy, this is your life now, really.
Well,
and
it was for a minute. Yeah. Yeah.
But I also think that, look, it's funny, when you told me you were coming out of retirement to do Girls 5 Eva, and I was laughing because it's you haven't really been in retirement, but just that idea that there's more than one incarnation of you, that how social media became the medium by which you really got to shine, right? I mean, for all these other things. And what I find so interesting, what I think is so powerful, is that we all have more than one iteration of who we are in ourselves to begin with, right? And it's all of these external circumstances that are going to determine whether or not you kind of, fall into that next iteration, make that next iteration happen. So for me, it's really interesting. I'm 52 now. And when I look back on, really what I was doing until I was about 44 or 45, it's just unfathomable to me that I was trying to do all that stuff at once. And certainly, I think there were both physical and mental health ramifications for that. And it really took me I'm going to say a good 5 years to kind of figure out where I wanted to be after that. And the biggest issue for me was this idea of, feeling like my use value had sort of dropped, right? That I didn't know where I was supposed to be after What Not to Wear. I thought I was leaving a show, a job, not the job, not the only thing that I was ever going to be known for. And in a lot of ways, I think there were pros and cons to that, right? I mean, I got to enjoy all the benefits of what it means to be on television for a long time. And then there was the flip side of that, which is that I don't feel like anybody could see me in any different way other than that particular version of myself, right? Whether it was a persona or not, just the idea that it's Stacy from What Not to Wear. It's not Stacy from anything else. And a really telling story is that like a few years ago, I went out to LA to pitch a show about middle age and transformation and what that looks like. Career pivot, style, leaving a bad marriage,
basically what we wanted the podcast to be.
Yes.
Right. But empty nest syndrome, all of the things that start to happen when you're in middle age that we, certainly me as a Gen Xer, never felt I had permission to talk about, right? I was brought up to think it's like, women are all competitive. We're not collaborative. There's one job. There's one partner. We're all fighting for space. Instead of what I've learned from younger generations, which is this idea that, being open and honest and vulnerable and transparent really allows for a much deeper, richer conversation. And I will say that if I ever did another show like What Not to Wear, I think it would be very different. I think I would want to do more than what we did on the show, which was very instructional. I call it the 3 E's. Like we knew we were supposed to be entertaining, and then we realized that people were actually taking our rules and it was educational. But nobody expected the emotional transformation that was happening, both to the participant and to the viewer. And one of the things that really struck me about that is how much passive information we give people by what we wear and the way that we look and how we take care of ourselves, right? There's a lot I can tell by looking at somebody. And I think we all feel this way, like, ooh, that person's not feeling great about themselves, or wow, they look tired, or anything that we might assume, right? For me, external things can really tell you a lot about internal psychology. And so I took all of that experience and tried to say, hey, there's a TV show here about what that means in a much deeper experience for somebody, for women in particular, who are going through the quote unquote cliche midlife crisis. Because what I really think is that we can have a midlife renaissance and we can figure out how that happens, right? Nobody wanted to make the show. Everybody told me it's not sexy, it's not cool. And I'm like, you're all a bunch of fucking ageists.
Yeah. And I'm sure a bunch of men, as Caissie and I have experienced in rooms, looked at you and said, yeah, but do women really want to watch that?
Exactly.
We've gotten that. We've gotten that note before.
Yes. A lot of men saying like, I don't think women want to watch this. And me being like, well, what the fuck would you know about it?
Right, exactly. And also just this idea of, why can't this be something joyful? Why can't we talk about middle age as something to celebrate? Like one of the things that I say now at 52 is like, my someday is today.
Yes.
Every day that I get to do something now, because I used to put that stuff off and think I've got all this time on my hands. And one of the things that really struck me, right, was the loss of my father. It was a real, gut check in terms of mortality. It was a real gut check in terms of how do I want the rest of my life to look? And what does that mean to me? And honestly, during the pandemic, for me at first, I'm not going to lie, before shit really hit the fan, I was so relieved by the pandemic because here I was sort of floating around, not knowing what I was doing, basically being told by television executives that I didn't have an interesting show, which made me feel a little bit like I internalized that, like, okay, nobody wants to watch me. I'm not cool. I'm too old. I'm all the things. And I was very relieved by this sense that the world had to stop, right? We all had to pause. No pun intended, although we'll get to that later. But, that idea that I was like, what is the kernel of truth for me? Like, if I'm not going back to television and, magazines don't really exist anymore, what does it look like when I've already written 2 books on style? I've already done this show on style. People aren't interested in what I'm interested in the same way. And I think, certainly back in 2003, how-to shows were a big deal. It was before social media, and you wanted an expert to kind of help you decide something, right? How to, the 10,000 hours of being an expert.
Right.
I do think that still applies to people who fly planes, but not necessarily to style experts or to fashion people.
Right.
And what we saw with the rise of bloggers, and hence influencers, was this idea of really going from how to me too. Right. And I don't mean that in the larger, more serious sense of the hashtag, but just this idea of like, I can look at Busy's top and be like, I love that. And relate to you on that level instead of having you tell me this is what I should be wearing.
Right.
And so, for me, that whole idea of the shoulds have really disappeared in an incredibly positive and I think expansive way. So if I was to do another show, it would certainly have to be with that in mind, that it is a collaborative effort to create somebody's style, that you help them where they're unsure of themselves or afraid, or, you push them outside their comfort zone a little bit, but with the intention of making them more of who they are. Not who they don't, they think they need to be, but who they actually desire to be. And while I was thinking about all of this during the pandemic, it really occurred to me that I was going to need to figure out another way to reach this audience, to talk to this woman who, if is in middle age, may be having a real crisis of identity. And part of that is about age. And part of that, as I learned doing my own research, that menopause was causing a lot of self-doubt and sadness, depression. It's not just about sort of how you feel, but certainly your looks start to change. I was saying to Caissie before, like, I pretty much look the same from 32 to 48, and then shit just started to go south, right? I mean, I was like, I don't recognize, I used to have a waist. What happened, right? It wasn't even gaining weight. It was like body redistribution weight.
Yes,
I was like, where did this arm flap come from? I mean, just all of a sudden, my skin was so dry. It was like I was constantly peeling. And I was so frustrated by looking in the mirror and being like, when did my face get square? I have jowls. Like, what the fuck is happening?
Do you guys remember when Cher recreated the turn back time outfit? And everybody posted it like side by side. And I was like, even fucking Cher's body has changed. So, I mean, like, that made me feel better. But yes, you're right. You just change. And everyone around you changes as well. But what you do to yourself over those changes it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot. And it is an internal conversation that I think has external circumstances that in turn make us feel ashamed and stigmatized. And menopause is completely polarizing. Some people feel very comfortable talking about it. Others do not. I did not see anybody who had any kind of platform really taking hold of this conversation and saying, hey, this is not something to be scared of. It may be hard, but like the same way we would never let kids go through puberty without telling them what's going on.
Totally.
Why are we letting women sail through puberty, pregnancy, postpartum, even discussions about infertility, and not talk about this kind of final phase of hormonal health? And frankly, it's because our moms didn't tell us, right? So
it's a whole, I mean, for me, it's all a part of the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's all a part of reproductive rights and justice and awareness. Like, we need to have these conversations. I don't know enough about, I mean, people have often said my oversweating is perimenopausal. I mean, I would agree, except that I've been that way since I was 31. So I don't think that this oversweating has to do with that particular thing.
Maybe, right. And also, look, the thing is, if you are in your 40s, chances are, if you are coming to menopause chronologically by age, you're already in one phase of it, right? Menopause is not one thing. There's different phases. There's pre, there's peri, and there's post. And menopause is really the one day, the 12 months since your last period, you are officially in menopause. But the thing is, starting in your 40s, even if you still have your period, you can still start, you start losing estrogen. And it's not the only hormone that you're losing. And the fact is that those symptoms, I could never have connected the dots because I had I was telling Caissie, I thought menopause was optional. Like, it didn't occur to me that I was actually going to go through it, or that anybody was going to go through it.
I'll deal with it the day that, like, I thought it was like a week-long thing. Like, I'll deal with that the week it comes up. Like, I'll just, and then I'll be over it.
I do have to say, like, I am not looking forward. It's knowing how much I sweat already. I'm not looking forward to the hot flash journey.
No, and you may get,
you might skip it.
More severe symptoms. You may not even experience those symptoms. That's the thing about menopause, is it's almost different for every single person.
Like pregnancy, or like your periods, or like sex, or like anything that we experience with our bodies.
Yes. Yeah. And, look, you were talking about reproductive rights before, and, there's something I want to say about that. The thing that really I struggle with is this idea that women their worth is reduced to their reproductive health. Mm-hmm. And that in a lot of ways, I think some of the stigma around menopause is this idea of you're no longer fertile. Right? For some women, that can be a very painful kind of secondary grief where you're saying goodbye to something your body is no longer able to do. But that has nothing to do with your worth as a person. I mean, certainly in terms of our, sociobiology, we have moved past this idea that women are only worth something if they have children. What about women who don't want to have children? Mm-hmm. Or, people who are non-binary? I mean, menopause is a hormonal health issue that has to be addressed so that we can have agency around it. The fact is, knowledge is power here. And the minute that you, sort of don't want to think about it, or you put it off, like, it never even occurred to me, I started to have a collection of symptoms that I blamed on everything else because I didn't know that perimenopause was what was happening to me. Mm-hmm. And I was saying to Caissie, I had, and Busy, this, like, I had pretty major spine surgery. Mm-hmm. And then about 2 years after that, my dad passed away. And so I attributed all of the physical symptoms I had, food allergies, skin rashes, all sorts of things, to the grief that I was experiencing around my dad, because I seemed to be getting symptoms that he was having while he was sick. My heart palpitations, like this crazy insomnia, the night sweats. And then I also thought it was the physical trauma of spine surgery, like just getting my strength back, and muscle fatigue and joint pain. All of these things are perimenopausal symptoms, and any kind of trauma will either heighten those symptoms, or those symptoms can heighten any kind of trauma. But this was unknown to me. And even when I went to my doctors, both my primary care and my gynecologist, they were like, it's menopause. You'll deal with it. It's hard, but you'll deal with it. And it's exactly what you said, Busy. Like, you're not looking forward to it. I understand that, because menopause is hard, but it's just not hopeless. And there was nobody telling me how to get through it. And I was like, well, then this is the audience that I wanted to talk to anyway. Why not walk into this conversation and be the person to say, hey, your external symptoms, your night sweats, your hot flashes, your insomnia, your weight gain, your moodiness, all of this should be completely validated. And it is a health issue like any other. And if we can take care of some of those external symptoms, you're going to feel a little bit calmer. You're going to have knowledge that gives you, power over this situation. And also just this idea of the shame. The shame. I mean, I had such bad hot flashes. It looked like I was taking a shower, while in the middle of a conversation.
I'm going to just tell you a story real fast that I think you're going to fucking love so much, which is, Caissie, how we hired a woman on our show, on our talk show, to be our line producer, our UPM.
Which is a pretty big deal.
It's a big deal. It's a big job. We were interviewing people. We had a bunch of very experienced people come in.
People that were great.
People were great. Mostly men, if I'm being real. Mostly men who were older men coming in. I was a little bit like, I can't ask my dad for money. You know what I mean? Like, I can't, because you guys at home, Hollywood Break, we haven't done one of these in a long time, but the UPM or line producer is the one that really makes sure the budget is in line and stays where it needs to be. And if you need an extra $5,000 to pay for a celebrity's manicure, don't fucking ask. Don't ask. That is not an exaggeration.
Why do I know that is absolutely not an exaggeration?
Oh my God. You'd be shocked too.
You would be shocked. You'd be shocked. That's a real blind, guys. You try to figure it out.
Yeah.
Anyway, You have to go to your line producer and you have to explain it, and then they have to figure out if they can find the money in the budget, whatever. So we were interviewing these people, and then this woman comes in who's in her 50s.
Yeah.
Like sparkly makeup, like little cowboy tight jeans and whatever, and
night outfit, like maybe an outfit to go out for like drinks.
Or like almost, or like going out to meet her friends and then maybe line dance. I don't know. Like it was like wild. It was wild. And she had a ton of experience, had been working forever, had a ton of experience, but it looked like in the last few years had a gap.
Yeah.
Had a gap. Was wearing this like cool belt halfway through. From the side of the belt, we hadn't seen it earlier. She grabs, it's like a holster, and out comes a fan from the holster. And she whips it open and starts fanning herself. And she's like, I'm so sorry, you guys. I am going through menopause and I'm getting a hot flash and this is just what I got to do. And I was like, first of all, I'm obsessed with you.
Yeah.
Secondly, you're 100% hired. Because also after it, we're like, look at these dudes who are the same age as this woman who have never stopped fucking working. And here's this woman who has all of this experience. She's obviously competent. She's super cool. She's been in this business forever. She's seen everything. And there's this gap in her resume that coincides with this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck that. Fuck that.
We love her.
Fuck
and P.S.
that. And
she was
also,
great at her job. She was great. And it's insane that she would ever be passed over for any job. I don't know. She just was great at her job.
Yes, but this is the thing that I find so incredibly rewarding about this story, right? It's that you guys recognized that her value was exponential, right? Even with the gap in her working years, which, by the way, happens to a lot of women in middle age. There is a gap because they get pushed out of whatever job they were in and they're trying to figure out what job is next for them. And this idea that like ageism or menopause isn't something that would ever occur to you, honestly, because you were women in charge. And the same way that we see men in middle life being celebrated for being more distinguished, more handsome than they've ever been. Look at Viagra and look at, hair loss products. I mean, these are billion-dollar industries for men.
Yes, we know so much about these issues that men, like I have heard more about erectile dysfunction in my lifetime
than you want to know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I only care about a handful of erections in my life, and I just don't need I don't need to know the plight of men across the universe.
And also, it's only $1 billion industry because it's a male plight, right?
Yeah.
I mean, meanwhile, this is the thing. Women experience many more highs and lows in terms of what hormones we gain and lose depending on where we are in our lives. And the fact that nobody is talking about this because it's some shameful secret is such bullshit to me. And so I was like, great, you know what? I'm going to start a company. I am going to introduce menopause products. I am going to talk about menopause and stop this kind of idea that it's something we shouldn't be discussing, and start making it more of a normal and optimal conversation. I mean, we are, look, Busy, I mean, I've known you a long time, and one of the reasons that I adore you is because of that first panel that we were on, which was about social media in real life and being authentic, even when you're on a platform, right? I mean, we can still choose what selfie we're going to post and things like that, but for authenticity for good, as opposed to authenticity for whatever forced authenticity looks like, right?
Right.
Part of that whole conversation is really what this is about. It's like, people like you have always been who you are. And then you've got this entire group of people like Glennon Doyle, like Brené Brown, like Brené. Sorry, I'm totally pronouncing everybody's name wrong today.
That's okay. It's probably me rubbing off on you.
Yeah,
I always pronounce names wrong.
And you've got people like Taraji P. Henson and Viola Davis and Salma Hayek finally like talking about menopause. I'm like, this is the moment. It's not a moment. It's not a movement. It's not a revolution. It's exactly what needs to happen and be normal. And the idea that, we are so afraid of this time of life. We are so afraid of this. And this is not even to mention surgical or medical or gender assignation menopause, which can happen at any age. This is about what it looks like to experience menopause between 40 and 60. And I went through it feeling so alone. And one of the greatest things that I've found, not just about starting a company, is that I get to be part of a community that all speaks the same language. And, it's like any other kind of community where people have been through similar experiences and are willing to be vulnerable and talk about them. That's how you make things like mental health a priority, physical health a priority, is not being afraid to ask questions and talk about it.
And I'd just like to point out, so you were pitching this TV show and you were told by people who are gatekeepers of this kind of thing, there wouldn't be an audience for this.
Yes.
And then so you
and
went...
I'm like, who's watching television if not us?
Yeah, exactly. And so now you've started this company and you found out and have been vindicated in your knowledge. I don't even want to say a hunch, because you knew that there was an audience for this. And so you had to bring it to the people under your own steam, because people failed to recognize the truth of what you're saying. And so just fuck you to those people.
Yeah, fuck you to all those people. And, the other thing is, I will say that certainly after years of getting external validation by being on shows and commercials and things like that, it was kind of hard. I mean, I took it really hard that the industry that I'd been working in for over 15 years suddenly was like, you're not that interesting. You're not the new ice cream flavor on the block. And well, I'm okay with that. It took me a second to really build up the stamina and the guts to say, okay, fine, that door is closing. Where am I going to find a door that I want to open? That feels true to me.
Yeah. Well, I have thoughts on that door. Anyway.
Let's talk about, what are your thoughts on the door?
Well, my thoughts on that door in particular is just that's not... We can't go to the system hasn't changed. So you can't expect the same gatekeepers who've always been there, as much as people are proclaiming that diversity, inclusion of all types and blah, 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 blah. That's actually not really
They're not doing
true.
it.
Well, they're not doing it at the
right.
highest level. And the highest level are the people that get to make the decisions.
Right.
And so I do think that the evolution of the online communities and being able to go direct to your consumer, direct to your audience, direct to the person that you're trying to reach with your content is it's a straighter line off television.
Yeah.
TV just sort of ceases to move forward. It's refusing to the industry of it, and the corporations, the big massive corporations that sort of control it, sort of refuse to make the actual big substantive changes that they need to make in order to democratize television. That's my feeling.
Absolutely. Yes. And listen, I think, with all of the social issues that we saw kind of break through the surface during the pandemic, right? There is a lot of things that I'm seeing, even in corporate America, that, feel like they're changes, but are they really? Are they, much more performative than we give them credit for?
Yes.
And I'll tell you, when you go down top of funnel, right? Just in terms of what it means to work at this stage, at this age, and being a woman, I started to see all of the issues that come along with this. I'm a woman. I'm 52, right? I'm not married. I don't have children. It's all of these tropes that you can put around me, that I'm talking about an experience, a stage of life that most people our age, well, I'm older than you, but the only thing I knew about menopause going into it was that Edith Bunker yelled at Archie once. That was Right? Everybody was like, ooh, Edith's in a bad mood, right? That's what I remember about ever hearing about menopause.
Oh my God.
And my mom had a radical hysterectomy, and I don't even remember her going through menopause. But I have friends who have suffered so much. They've had suicidal ideation around this time, so mental health is so important. To be able to talk about anxiety, depression, weight gain, fear, all of these things. I mean, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. My whole point is that if we don't talk about these things, they're worse. You have no idea what's happening to you. And I want everybody to regain a sense of identity and agency when they get here. And know that someday is today. You got to go out and do whatever the fuck you want. And you're not always going to be in the position to say that if, you're working for a big company or if you have a certain career and you're the breadwinner or things like that. But to the extent that you can change your life or say, I want to be the captain of my own ship. I really had to think about how important that kind of external validation was to me, or how much more important it was to do what I was able to do on What Not to Wear, which was give people a sense of their own agency and also about their sense of self-esteem, self-awareness, self-acceptance. And that's what this demographic needs. Nobody's there doing it. So why the hell not me? And I will tell you, I'm terrified to be a CEO. I do it every day now. Every day I wonder if I should fire myself. But it's like, what credentials did I need? Well, I didn't go to business school. I'm not a traditional CEO, but I know who I want to be talking to. And the biggest thing about this for me has been, can I get to this audience? Can I get to younger audiences so that they are not afraid to get to this moment? So that if you are unfortunate, if you're in the unfortunate position to go through medical menopause, let's say from chemotherapy, breast cancer, certain things like that, that you understand that there is something else you're going to have to deal with. Oncologists aren't going to tell you about menopause, but I want you to know that these are the issues. And it's all about exactly what you were saying in terms of reproductive rights. It's the same thing. You need to know what they are. You need to know what's happening with your body in order to have agency over it. And so I joke around and I'm like, menopause needs a makeover, which is why I really feel like I could take this on.
You're 100% right. And you're doing it. You're lighting up so many lights and bells for me. My mom also underwent a radical hysterectomy.
Same with my mom.
At my birth when she was 22 years old.
Wow.
Oh God, that's terrible.
My mom woke up from having delivered me via C-section to learn that she'd been given a hysterectomy.
I can't. That is
at 22 years old.
Right. At 22 years old, being thrown into surgical menopause and having a newborn. I mean, literally, it's like, how much more can you ask of women? We do so fucking much.
I just want to say, Stacy, you mentioned the shame, and that's a huge thing. And to hear Busy say she's not looking forward to menopause. I mean, who's looking forward to it? But I just want to say, we really have to just throw the shame in the garbage because that going through menopause is not a failure. Your body's doing what it's supposed to do. It's a success. If you get to go through menopause, that's a success because you've lived to a certain stage in your life where something is changing, whether it happens early or for whatever reason, it's like your body is doing what it's supposed to do. So then to be made to feel by the world like you failed at something, like you're experiencing some type of failure is like a fucking really mean trick that we play on ourselves over and over again. And it's not. You're succeeding at something.
I mean, Caissie, you took the words out of my mouth and from my heart, because not only do I completely agree with everything you're saying, menopause is not a disease, right? It's like, that would be like saying erectile dysfunction is a disease. So every time I think about menopause, I'm like, if this was happening to a man, what would we be saying about it? And part of the reason I think as women don't look forward to menopause is because we have internalized that shame through a patriarchal lens, telling us that we're not worth anything. What a bunch of shit that is, right? Shouldn't we be past that already?
Yes.
And so this idea that you are coming to menopause instead of the expectation of it all being awful. But, this is why there are great things like Electra Health has something called the 21st Century Guide to Menopause. And it lists the 34 common symptoms so that you at least have some idea of what's happening with you. And they also make, naturopathic recommendations. Like my company is all over the counter. We are rapid relief for the onset of symptoms. There are other companies that are much bigger on supplements or telehealth, but things are starting to move.
Wait, I have to just say,
industry here.
Okay, wait, what is the Electra, what is that?
Electra Health has a 21st century guide to menopause. And they just debuted it a few months ago, and it is so helpful. They list every symptom. There are 34 common symptoms. There are more that are less common, but they list the 34 common ones. What's interesting is that the medical community only recognizes 2 of those symptoms as menopause. Right? So hot flashes and vaginal dryness are medically approved as menopause. But nothing else. And we are talking about insomnia, night sweats, and even night sweats aren't considered menopausal. I mean, it's like, you can't get treated for them. And the one thing that I will say
I just say this? I just want to say this for our listeners who a lot of them are in their 30s. Sorry. Some of them are in their 20s, 30s, 40s. I see you 50s.
And beyond.
I see you.
Yes.
I just pulled up Electra Health, and it's explore symptoms: acne, anxiety, bloating, brain fog, brittle nails, burning mouth, decreased libido, dizziness, depression, dry, itchy skin, fatigue, gum problems, hair loss, headaches, heart palpitations, which, by the way, I never had heart palpitations till I was pregnant. I very well know with my second kid, hormonal heart palpitations is a real fucking thing, and it freaks you out.
Scary.
It's scary. You're just like, wait, what's happening? Why is my chest doing that? Hot flashes, irregular periods, joint and muscle aches, mood changes, and osteoporosis. I just feel and so Stacy became the CEO of a company called State of Menopause, which is products and, like you said, over the counter. I'm also curious, though, just because I had visited your site earlier. And by the way, I need to reorder some stuff because I do love that face oil that you sent me.
Listen, I am happy to have you love everything. I want you to have all of it.
Yeah, I need to get some more stuff. I also have recently become itchy.
Okay. Oh, great.
Which I didn't know was a thing.
We've got you covered. Itchy is big. And, look, my product line does not cover every symptom, but that is my goal. That is the goal, is to be able to knock down each symptom for what it is and find some kind of rapid relief for the onset of it so that you can even take hormones, right? Hormones are having a huge resurgence in the menopausal space. And that you need to do through your doctor. But not everybody can afford hormones or insurance that covers hormones. And in a lot of cases, hormones won't be covered. We wanted to come up with something, there are a lot of issues that come out of menopause, right? There are issues of race. There are issues of socioeconomic status. There are issues of ageism, misogyny, sexism. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And so the idea that you could, the way you use aspirin for a headache or Neosporin for a cut, we want these products to be there for all of those symptoms that you just listed. And the other thing is, I'm listening to Busy list them and I'm like, oh my God, it really does sound horrible, doesn't it? But this is also an incredible opportunity in our lives to decide what our health is going to look like for the next 40 years. Because the longer our lifespans are getting, we're living into our 80s, 90s, 100s, you're going to be older a lot longer than you're going to be young. And if you start taking precautions now, 1, you can have an easier menopausal transition, and 2, you're going to be healthier as an older person. And all of that is extremely important to understand. There are underlying issues that happen starting in your 40s with the loss of estrogen, progesterone, testosterone that are going to have much bigger effects on you later on. Cardiovascular health, brain health, osteoporosis, things like this that matter. If you know what's happening to you before, I wish I'd been strength training since my 20s, because that is the greatest protection against osteoporosis. Not any kind of medicine, not any kind of supplement. It's really that you should strength train to protect your body, right?
Oh, wow.
But these are things that I did not realize until I was told I have to take a bone density test. I was like, oh, I didn't know my bone density was going to change. Who thinks about this stuff.
Right.
So, it was my crisis. It was my existential crisis that I was like, what am I doing with my life? What is happening to my body? Why don't I feel like myself? Why am I sad? Why am I anxious? Why don't I feel good when I wake up in the morning? And I had to do this work for myself. Now there are so many more resources available to us. And my products are a resource. I want them to be a resource, an answer, a solution when you have issues. Because, again, we just want to make the state of menopause easier. And there are actually many states in which you are going to have it.
So I have
the
two
more
questions.
You understand about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
One is, are you doing are you starting also within the state of menopause, like a community, like a magazine, or are you doing some sort of, not magazine, but
newsletter.
Like a newsletter? Are you,
Yes.
you're starting that as well? And when is that happening? How's that happening? What's happening?
It's a really good question because we are, in fact, doing a newsletter. It's called On Pause, and hopefully it will be started by the end of the year. We already have so many articles and so many first-person accounts, and so we have a great medical advisory board that's written a ton. We just have to put up the blog. Now, that's a whole other story that I won't get into.
We know all about it.
We understand.
Oh, listen,
yes,
Caissie and I know all about it. This is it was a journey that we were sort of taking right before the pandemic and the shutdown, and it's a lot of work. We know.
I mean, between, this has been a steep learning curve for me. I took over the company in January. We went live in April. And since then, I've had to learn all about e-commerce and D2C back-end, operating management systems, and how to onboard with secondary retailers and worry about packaging. And then in the same conversation, talk about, our company our products are vegan and Leaping Bunny certified, and making sure that the barcodes match. And I mean, every day it's something else, managing all the money. I mean, I'm a little startup now. This is a baby business, and we are, I see it so clearly. It does feel a little bit like when I started What Not to Wear. I'm in the right place at the right time. But this time, I made that choice.
You're the
instead
boss.
of letting somebody make it for me. And it is the most empowering experience that I've ever had. It's the most terrifying, but the most empowering.
You need our
it.
friend with the fan.
Yes.
Yeah, you really do.
Instead of a fan.
Also, by the way,
we could give her this.
the cooling spray.
The cooling spray.
I feel like you should also maybe consider fan holsters and fans, because
I don't disagree.
A little cooling spray and then a fan on top of it, and you're feeling great.
And you're feeling it.
Her fan holster
also,
was custom made, custom commissioned, and personalized.
Custom commissioned.
We should
Yeah.
point out.
Well, first of all, can I meet this woman? Because she just sounds so dope.
Yes.
This is the best, the fucking best. And because I do think, like, I really enjoy, Stacy, the fact that, like, you're, I think that, the idea of, like, leaning in is right. Like, we've all heard that, right? You got to lean into the thing. You've recognized this space that needs attention. You're stepping up and you're like, I want to do it in all the ways and help. I want to help people. And I like really, really appreciate it. Because even for all my, like, I'll tell you about everything that's happening with me, I still am like, I don't know. I feel like menopause is one of those things that I still am like, I don't know. I don't know what that is. So I'll worry about that in my 50s. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Well, look, at least you think about it and you're like, I don't know, maybe in my 50s. Didn't even occur to me when I tell you I thought it was optional. It was like, the only thing I want dry during menopause is a good martini. Like, I don't want the rest of this shit. It's like, and also it's like that laughter through tears thing. It's like, look, we as women do hard things. We do hard things, like give birth and do hard things. And now we are navigating, a whole new set of societal mores, right? I mean, with younger generations coming out talking more about race issues, gender issues, all of these things that were sort of taboo topics during, when I was young, right?
Oh yeah,
and I'm like
Gen X is like,
Gen X.
yeah. But I'm
You're
the
the baby
youngest.
side.
I'm the baby side of Gen X. And
I think I'm the oldest.
Are you? Or are you like sort of
I'm
right?
52.
No, you're like right in the middle. I
In
think,
the middle.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe in the middle.
I think you're like definitely Gen X.
I believe me when I tell you, I mean, I knew that I was Gen X graduating from college and I was like, I don't want to do anything and I hate my life. Yeah, that was Gen X. We were all like, so into like Bret Easton Ellis and all of like Less Than Zero and all of that craziness.
1965 to 1980.
There you go.
Okay. So I'm like still on the the older side, but I feel like I certainly feel like a trailblazer when it comes to Gen X behavior.
Yeah,
which was a lot of drugs when I was young.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, Caissie, I appreciate everything that you said, and thank you, because it is scary, like, to do anything new, right? I mean, you knew that from doing your TV show.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know that from doing this podcast. But it's not just a question of leaning in. I think it's really a question of looking in and deciding, like, what is it that matters? And what is it that, in terms of authenticity, you're saying, or at least I understood you to say that, it's not like you think you're teaching anybody anything, but you are teaching by example. And one of the things that makes your authenticity so important is, again, the permission that it gives others. I certainly look at you as one of the people who's given me permission to talk about things that are hard and to talk about things that are weird and to talk about things that, we either whisper or we are only telling our best friends. That's not the way I see the world going forward. And in fact, my biggest excitement at the moment isn't just being able to talk to this consumer. I have made it my mission to talk to all of the CEOs of major menopause companies, ones that are coming, ones that are out, ones that are funded, ones that aren't, because I do believe that we should be showing not just consumers and audiences, but the business world that we can do this differently, that we can do this collaboratively for a much bigger audience than just playing small to each other. Right. So I really, really want people to understand, like, I will recommend menopause products that we don't make. I will recommend things that maybe we make and I found a better version of it. Because while I want a successful company, what I truly want is for the needs of this community that is so massive. By 2024, I think it's 1 billion people will be in menopause.
Wow.
That is a lot of people. And we need as much help out there as we can get. And
Can I tell you something too? Can we
Yeah.
just all take one moment to just appreciate fucking Suzanne Summers?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Because
yes, we can.
Talk about a trailblazer and a woman who was literally laughed at for talking about menopause and her bioidentical hormones and whatever. Like, she was like the first person out there, public-facing person out there saying, there's this thing that happens. It's fucking wild.
Yeah, it is. And you're absolutely right. I give her all the credit. And I'll tell you, I just did The View last week. And part of the reason that I was so excited to do The View was because Whoopi was one of the first people to ever say to me, okay, I'm hot. I'm really feeling it. I'm hot. And even then, having that conversation with her, it still never occurred to me it was going to happen to me.
Right.
And also that, look, menopause is not just a physiologic thing, right? This also has to do with the way that you were brought up, the socioeconomic circumstances, childhood trauma. There are a lot of things that contribute to how you respond to menopause.
Are there menopause expert doctors you can go to that won't just say to you, like,
that's a great question.
It seems like maybe you're just in periomenopause. Bye.
Yeah, good. Suffer through it. Good on you. Tough it out. Most primary care physicians and OBGYNs do not get a ton of menopause training in medical school. I believe the required amount is 2 hours.
Wow.
So there are a lot of OBGYNs, more so than there are primary care physicians, that specialize in menopause. There are a few menopause clinics across the country. I know there's one at Northwestern. These are the kinds of doctors that you want to, or care practitioners that you want to seek out. They may be nurse practitioners. They may be naturopaths. But the idea is that you have options and you have choices. So while Suzanne Summers did talk a lot about bioidenticals, which, by the way, are very popular again, even if you're on a hormone, one, you can't stay on it forever, and two, you may still have symptoms. So you need to know that there are options that aren't contraindicated with a hormone, right? Whether it's like HRT or bioidentical. And that's why we decided to go with over-the-counter products, because you may not have severe enough symptoms to be on hormones, or you may have such severe symptoms that even being on hormones isn't enough, right? So you always want something that's going to sort of make you feel better in the moment. And you can't look good if you don't feel good. And that was the other thing that was really starting to stress me out, was that I just didn't feel good. And so it was making it harder for me to like care about style or care about, taking care of myself, because I felt tired all the time, grumpy all the time. So we can't sort of underestimate the ripple effect that not understanding or recognizing the effects of menopause will have on you. And really, now that we talk much more openly about mental health, there's a real issue here with this, the meno rage and like the hysterical woman. I mean, this is a perfect trope for people to kind of use during menopause, instead of really looking at what the issues are and also educating those people who may not go through menopause who are around you, your partners, your children, so they really do understand this is a natural transition and one that, half the population in the world is going to experience, and how to be helpful and supportive during this time.
Right.
And also, I'd just like to say RE meno rage, or
Yes.
women's rage in general. We're hearing now all the things that happened in the White House during the last administration. That was a lot of man-o rage and emotional, coming from an emotional place. We also have just heard, after I read firsthand accounts of how producer Scott Rudin, threw a baked potato at an assistant, I really don't want to hear about how I was snippy with someone ever again in my life. I just really don't.
1,000%.
I really don't.
1,000%.
I've never thrown a potato at anyone.
No, and also look, there's this thing of you have to be mean to get to the top, right? As a woman, you can't be nice, and all of these things that are just such bullshit to begin with. But we are taught to think that we have to be nice all the time, right? And that our rage it's not permitted in any way. And by the same token, it really pisses me off that you think that to get to the top or to be successful, you have to be a bitch. It's not one or the other. It makes me so angry that women are, put in one camp or another, that it's just so binary. I mean, that doesn't apply to any woman I have ever met in my entire life.
And by the way, it doesn't even matter because, as we're all living our lives online, if you're ever, as a woman, plain spoken online, people will be like, what a bitch, calm down.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even matter what you're trying to do. That I think we have to, again, while we're throwing out the shame, let's throw out the rage thing, because there's a difference between being frank versus being angry, which sometimes we're entitled to be angry, versus being abusive. And so if we're starting to pin the needle in abusive territory, okay, let's talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we're entitled to at times be angry and show rage over something. And by the way, you'll get called that anyway, even if you're just being frank. So
I agree. But, the one thing I'll say about menopause is that one of the first hormones that I've learned that we start to lose during the menopause transition is progesterone, which is what is our sort of our mood hormone. So one of the first things you may notice is that your moods start to swing a little bit, or they're more extreme. So when you get angry, sometimes that really does feel like a rage you haven't experienced before.
Yes.
And that to me is very different from this larger conversation that we're having about what it means to be a woman today,
right?
And be frank and be, to me, it's this idea that we're not allowed to be blunt or have any brevity if we're not completely emotional and feeling and empathetic, that we're somehow not being good leaders, good bosses. I mean, to me, that's just a load of crap, right? But certainly when it comes to menopause, it's really just for your own self-identification. If you're like, whoa, like where did that come from?
This isn't me.
You know, that's different.
Yeah.
And again, all of this is to say, like, nobody wants to talk about how shitty some of these symptoms can be, but they're so much shittier if they come on you or you start to experience them and you don't know what's happening. It's like just being thrown into the spin cycle and there's just no understanding, which is why this conversation, and particularly for your audience, is so important, because I don't want them to get to where I got to and feel like nobody helped me. Nobody told me. And that's like a refrain I hear all the time, certainly with people who are experiencing menopausal symptoms right now that I have, just so you know, on stateofmenopause.com, there is another email that's heystacy@stateofmenopause.com. You can always write to me there. I write back to everybody. I ask for firsthand experiences. I want to know what is working and what isn't working for you. And certainly like what you're struggling with the most, because as we start to develop our new product line, we want to be able to kick off all of those symptoms and we want to know which are the ones that are most important to people. So, you know, we started with skincare because it was the first thing that I saw. Right. It was the first thing that I recognized, and hot flashes and discomfort from joint pain or muscle fatigue. That's where we're starting. We are not ending there. So I expect both of you to tell me when you start to feel weird symptoms, what the hell is going on with you?
Yes.
Because again, I highly recommend finding a doctor that does specialize in menopause. You need to make sure that hormones are right for you. That is not your only option. There's a platform called the North American Menopause Society, and NAMS is what it's called, and they will recommend some doctors, but I also recommend you do your own research. It's really important that this be an experience that is personal to you and not what everybody tells you. It's really a question of trying to certainly give people information in the most objective way possible so they can take that information and decide what they want to do with it.
Wow. Hey, Stacy, thank you for always using your considerable powers for good. Always. Yeah. Ever since I've first been aware of you and what you were doing. I mean, you're such an example. I don't think you know. Maybe you do. I don't mean to tell you what you know and what you don't know, but I just think you've always been a really good example for all of us to be like, oh, here's what my talent is. Let me use it to bring people up, to lift people up. And that is, that's very special. Not everyone does that.
Okay. Don't make me cry.
It wouldn't be our really, podcast if we didn't cry. If someone doesn't cry, we can't leave.
The podcast didn't happen.
I just adore you. I'm just going to say this, and we can cut this off of the podcast. We don't have to put this on. I literally just had this vision, Stacy, and maybe we should talk about it. Okay. Are you ready for it?
Ready.
Caissie, are you ready?
Yeah.
You know how sometimes I get these things?
Yeah.
I see state of clinics, like offices, that are just, look, I just got chills.
Yeah.
That are like, that's what they do. That I see state of, and it's cute. It looks cute. It's cozy. It's comfortable. And they're clinics.
I think this is a vision that, no. This is this should stay on the podcast and we should manifest it, by the way.
I think we should do it because I see I literally just, as we've been talking, I put some stuff in my phone and been kind of looking, reading some stuff because I've been having all these things. Last week on the podcast, I said to Caissie, pretty sure I have, what did I think I had last week?
Fibromyalgia.
I was like, I'm pretty sure I have fibromyalgia. And I just feel like what I want is a place that I can go that's just come in here and we're all going to sit around and we can do, when I had a baby, there was this place in Los Angeles, the greatest place in the world, called the Pump Station. And you didn't have to be breastfeeding your kid or whatever. They were not mean to you if you used formula. But they provided like all this stuff from the pump station.
Yes.
There were experts there you could book appointments with. They had like a retail shop and you could pick stuff up there that for your baby that like you couldn't really find anywhere else. And of course, guys, you have to remember that I had my children basically before Amazon existed. And also let's not shop at Amazon. But, and then they had like a little back room where there would be like classes, and there were baby classes, but there were classes for parents. There were like support groups for moms. There were like all kinds of different things that were constantly going on. And if you've read my book, I had a really hard time when Birdie was a baby with postpartum anxiety. And not for nothing, there were many times when I would just drive there with Birdie and just go in and sit.
I got to tell you, this is a genius idea. So we definitely have to go further, because what I had originally thought about was the idea of state of retreats. More for this idea that you are not crazy, this is not hopeless, and we are here to help. And this idea that you could go, maybe somewhere upstate, and I would have, a property where you can just hang out, where you can, whether you're taking hormones, not taking hormones, just there are so many women that I've seen in this age group feel like they are failing. Scientific American did a study that said the lowest point of happiness in a woman's life is 45 to 54. And I'm like, that's because menopause.
Yeah.
Why is nobody talking about that? And
Tie
this
it
whole idea
together.
that our earning potential drops. All of this is stuff we have to get around. And the idea that women are suffering silently or explicitly is something that I can't bear. So I can't bear it.
I can't bear it either. And I feel like it's just, I don't know. Like, I feel like there's yes to the retreats, first of all. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But an secondly, actual property where you can go.
But also, yes to having like a space in every fucking city that you don't have to buy anything to go in and get support. That was the thing about Pump Station that was so amazing. I think it's actually closed, sadly, during the pandemic. There might be one. But like, that was what was so wonderful about it, was that like, I didn't have to go in and buy a thing when I would go in there. Like, it was the class, they offered free classes, they offered free support. And then they had like some like baby classes that cost literally $25 or something, like whatever. But they were just trying to like make sure that anyone who needed support could come in and get it. And like,
and that's what I think is so important, is that there has to be, and this is something I'll be completely honest about, we are still trying to figure out as a company, but we want that non-for-profit arm, right? Because there are a lot of people, we try to keep all of our products under $40, but even that is not going to work for somebody who may not even have the wherewithal or the capability to deal with what's happening to her in menopause if, let's say, she's in a domestic abuse shelter and trying to keep her kids fed. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So we are looking at ways in which we can help underserved communities. But the other thing that I really, because the one thing that I don't want this to turn into is a middle-class, white, heterosexual, cisgendered woman's problem. This is a much bigger issue than that. And it's a much bigger health issue. We don't talk enough about how this affects race disproportionately. Mm-hmm. We don't talk about the fact that the gender non-binary community goes through so many hormonal changes and no one is talking to them. So I agree with you. It is not simply about these kind of like mini almost clinics that would be wonderful in cities. It's the reason that I thought a retreat was so important, that you shouldn't have to pay, that you should be able to go, and whether it's for a weekend or a week, and just understand that what is happening to you is normal and that you are okay. And that, where you need help, we will find that support for you. But just that idea that, again, this is collaborative. Like, I hope that all of us CEOs who are all working on menopause companies aren't just doing this to be brand builders or because this is a white space in the market that hasn't been touched by a lot of people. I have no experience in building a brand, right? I mean, I've done some creative direction. I have no experience in being a titan of business. That's not really my goal.
Right. You're not like, I'm just waiting for P&G to knock on the door so I can sell it to them for 200 million and cash it in. I mean, I do think that this is, I don't know. I do think that you're like at the beginning of a really fucking amazing journey with this. And I think that you have really true and good intentions, as I've always known you to have. And I do think that you will figure out within your own company how to make it accessible for everyone. I mean, because that is important, you know?
Yeah.
Whether it's like
it's like all medical care, right? And again, I'm not putting myself in the category of medical. We are well within FDA regulations, but that's different than like actual medical or prescription care.
Right.
So I just want to make that disclaimer. But I absolutely agree with you. Like, and I will tell you, I will leave you with one funny story that when I was 50, a dear friend of mine gave me a reading over the phone with a numerologist who was like, sorry, I can only fit you in for half an hour. I normally do it in an hour, but I don't have time for you. Which was a great way to start the
I actually appreciate the honesty. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I appreciate the honesty. It just felt like a little like, okay. And she was like, okay, so happy birthday, you're 50. Wow, you've had a really hard time in the last 5 years. And I almost started crying, right? I was like, I really have. I feel like I've been floating around professionally, not knowing what I want to do. Spine surgery was hard. I miss my dad, like all of these things. And she said, well, it doesn't get any better. And I was like, what? And she was like, it's not going to get any better for you until 52. And after that, you're going to have a wonderful life. And this will be the time that you look back and say, this was the hardest time for me. Wow. And I remember getting off the phone and thinking two things. One, this woman doesn't know me. And what if I was like so depressed I was suicidal and I was like, another 2 years of this, I can't do it, right? So, I mean, first of all, I was like just annoyed.
It is annoying, I have to say.
But here I am at 52, and I finally decided I'm going to do this. I have no experience. I just have my own experience with menopause. I know that it can't just be me. That's if one person is suffering, then more than one person is suffering somewhere.
100%.
What can I do to change the situation, right? So here's hoping that from 52 on, it's a really wonderful life.
It's going to be. I feel it. And I'm here for it. And Stacy, I love you.
Amen. Well, I'm here for both of you, and I can't thank you enough for having me.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you so much.
I'm so grateful we had everything happens exactly when it's supposed to, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
This was the week.
I still do really want you to come look in my closet and to help me throw things away.
But Caissie, I will tell you, even we're about to start our angel round for investors.
Yeah.
And one of them was like, I am happy to give you money if you come and redo my closet. And I was like,
Literally.
I was like, I can't be beholden to that. If I'm going to redo somebody's closet, it's out of friendship and love, not to have you invest in my company.
No, absolutely not.
No.
Wow.
But anyway, guys.
I'm so happy I got a chance to talk to you because you're just lovely.
Yes.
The best.
From that time you fixed my necklace at that birthday party.
All right.
I'm just so glad.
We will let you get off onto your day, and I love you. I'm going to talk to you soon. Call me tomorrow.
All right.
Okay.
Bye. Bye.
Okay. Here's what I felt like. I was like, and I say this in the interview, but I was like, last week literally researching all of these different things, the autoimmune diseases that I was like convinced I had.
Right.
And I think you guys, I do think I'm just like in the beginning of the slope of menopause.
The pause.
I think it's just taken me on a journey. I'm 42 years old now. And I think it's just, that's what's happening. You know, I don't know, whatever. I found that very interesting. And
was really interesting. And like just a lot of like, I consider myself pretty well read on stuff like this. And she was saying a lot of things that I was like, oh, that's good to know. I didn't realize that. So hopefully everyone found it as useful. Because guess what? If you're not like 35 plus, you will be.
God willing.
It'll happen. God willing. Yes. So just file it
But
away.
that brings me to this. It won't happen if you don't get your fucking ass vaccinated. And I don't even give a fuck if you're like, I'm going to turn this podcast off and send you angry DMs. What the fuck is wrong with these people who are not getting the vaccines? Everybody's got a different story. When I ask people, I've been asking them, and I'm not always, listen, I feel like I'm being very aggro right now.
Yeah.
And that is in part because I'm PMSing and in part because I have an 8-year-old who can't get vaccinated.
Right.
That like the statistics are there, guys. The numbers are there. The research is there. There is no reason not to get this vaccine.
Right.
And this thing that has been perpetrated, I mean, do we blame fucking Jenny McCarthy still? I don't know. Because look, there was a thing about heavy metals in vaccines. There was.
Right.
Years and years and years ago. And that is what initially started the backlash of vaccines was the myth. It was a myth that vaccines cause
all kinds
of different things.
Right. And
there are obviously side effects from vaccines.
Right. And
there are side effects from all kinds of things that you do in your life.
Right.
Like, for instance, gel nails.
Right. And there's also a horrible history of unethical vaccine testing.
On Black and brown bodies in this country, 100%.
Yes.
I am not arguing that point at all.
Right.
But
the
where
statistics
we are,
that I am
reading
right now, where we are
in Los Angeles about the people who are not getting vaccinated and are in fact like causing the Delta variant to just have free fucking reign are mostly white and all like upper middle class.
Here's the thing that I find frustrating is that if you don't want to get the vaccine, I don't know that anything that I'm going to tell you is going to make you believe that you need the vaccine until we're hearing so many stories of doctors saying people are asking me on their deathbed, can I get this vaccine? And I have to be the one to tell them, I'm sorry, it's too late. You could have, but you chose not to. But here is what I find frustrating is that if you don't want to get the vaccine, then you have to do some things in place of, you have to lock yourself back down. That's your choice. You know what I mean? But if you want to go out in the world and be shopping at grocery stores and not wear a mask or whatever it is, like most people who know what they're talking about now are saying the best, most prudent thing to do to keep yourself and to keep other people who can't be vaccinated safe and to knock this back down is to get vaccinated and wear a mask when you're indoors, especially, again. But people just want what they want. And I understand, but you have to make some sacrifice. Everyone is making some sacrifice, whether it's getting the vaccine and it hurts to get stabbed with a needle and I'm a little bit nervous about imaginary side effects, but I'm making that sacrifice, or like I don't love to wear a mask, but I'm going to, or stay home, lock yourself back down. But the thing is, I think that people are just like, well, if I get it, I get it. But that's not it. You can still give it to kids. You can still give it to sick people who can't be vaccinated. You can still...
Yeah, you guys, how many people... I mean, I have a friend who's currently in cancer treatment, cannot get the vaccine.
Right.
Immune system is weakened.
Right.
Has children of... Has to beat this fucking cancer, but shouldn't have to worry that she might also have to beat this fucking Delta variant.
Right.
COVID, period. She couldn't get the vaccine. She's been going through treatment.
Right.
Fuck, man. So it's so fucking important that you like go to bars and like not and go to workout classes without being vaccinated. I cannot understand the selfishness. I just fucking can't.
It's
because I don't care. Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fucking fine. You'll beat it. But your kid is at the park with my friend's kid, and my friend's kid gets sick and brings it home to my friend, and it could fucking kill her.
Right.
New York has 57.3% of people fully vaccinated. Not New York City, that's New York State. California State has 53%. Arizona's at 45%. Texas, 44%. Florida is at 49%. South Carolina's at 40%. Georgia, 38%. Alabama, 34%. Mississippi, 34%. Louisiana, 37%. Arkansas, 36%.
Maybe I need to go on Instagram and get an actual microchip injected into me to show how big that needle would have to be to shoot a microchip into me.
That sounds terrible. But here's what I'm going to say. Like, I just feel like this is what's so crazy to me is like, you guys, drug companies are trying to keep you alive so they can give you more drugs. They're not like that.
Not
is their
a good
whole
business
game.
model to kill you off.
If their business model was killing you off, like, dudes, that would be terrible business for them. That's number one. Number two, you already have a motherfucking microchip implanted in you, and it's called your cell phone. And you carry it with you wherever you go, and it tracks what you do and who you see and where you park and what you eat, and it like what pictures you fucking take. So if you're really fucking concerned about some kind of conspiracy, like, go off the grid, motherfuckers. Get the fuck out of here. Go off the grid. Throw away the cell phone, get rid of your fucking computer, and fucking sure as hell turn off 24-hour bullshit Fox News.
Yeah.
All of them. Turn them all off.
Turn them off. No more podcasts. No more. We're preaching to the choir, by the way, here.
Maybe. I've been surprised in the past week is all I'm going to say to you.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'll say this. If you are listening to the podcast and you haven't gotten your vaccine, it's because...
It's not too late.
It's not too late. And it's because...
It's not too late for you because you're listening.
We love you, that we want you to do it, and because we love the people around you that we don't even know. That we want you. Here's your chance to be a fucking hero. People always love to talk about how they fantasize about saving someone's life.
Or like what they would have done differently in World War II. Guys, this is World War II. Guess what?
Here's your big chance. And this will make us feel better, maybe, because that's what this podcast is about, making Busy and I feel better. Busy and me.
Basically true.
If you have managed to convince someone in your life who is resistant to getting a vaccine, let us know what you did, and maybe we can
how. Yes,
we can analyze the psychology of it. You can message us on Insta, or you can send us an email, and the email's at the top of the Instagram page.
I don't think me being so angry is going to work, but it doesn't seem like facts and figures work, so I'm just trying a different tactic. Right. Like the one time did I ever tell you about this? This is really insane parenting.
What?
One time I had a child, I'm not going to say which child, who was having like an actual, like just a fit. And nothing would stop it. And I was holding a glass of water. And I was like, I'm just going to like splash them with the water a little bit.
Yeah.
So I did because I thought it would like get them out of the. It didn't work. It was bad. But then like Mark came in and was like, "What did you do?" And I was like, "I don't know. I read the thing about like in DBT, like cold water on your face. And I thought if I like just splashed water." And Mark was like, you're supposed to do it to yourself. You don't have somebody else do it to you, which is, but also like, what? Why would, but then the kid started like kind of laughing because it was so insane. And I was like, you guys, that was a really terrible parenting move. I'm so sorry. I thought that it was the thing where, guys, in DBT therapy, which is dialectical behavioral therapy, there's a thing where if you're having like a panic or something, you can't get out of it. You want to put like cold water basically like on your face, like where you would like dive into water.
Yes, yeah.
So it's like your eyes and forehead and like nose.
Yes.
If you're ever having that, guys, highly recommend put your head lower than your heart and put like ice or cold water or something right there on your face. That is like a DBT trick.
A trick.
It is not great if it's your mom and your mom throws water on your face. That doesn't work. Just like, FYI.
Busy, can I tell you something? I did a remarkably similar thing, and I'll tell you which kid it was. Eli, our intern, my older son. Hi, Eli. When he was having like some type of meltdown, and it wasn't water, it was orange soda. I had a glass of orange soda, and I was like, if you don't stop, I'm going to throw this in your face like they do.
You gave him a warning.
Like you do on television.
I thought surprise was going to be in my favor.
He said, you wouldn't dare. And I just fully went Real Housewives on him, flung a glass of orange soda in his face, and he laughed and laughed his head off. And it was the end of but that's the good thing about Eli is you could always shock him out of a childhood meltdown by making him laugh.
Well, that actually is what ended it, was the laughter.
Yeah,
but it was sort of like at my expense because I was like, this is going to work. Like I was like confident that I had like figured it out because of the DBT book I was reading.
Oh my
God. That's not how it works. But if you at home are suffering from a panic or something, I do recommend that.
Or throw an orange soda in your own face.
Don't do that. That's just sticky. That's insane. Well, guys, we've ended the day with some bad parenting.
Some not the
bad parenting
moments
that we did so you don't have to.
Yeah.
And please, with these vaccines, I'm just like, I don't even know at this point. You know that dogs and cats can get COVID?
Oh, God. Well, see? Maybe that's what would get people to get
I'm
the
not
vaccine.
even kidding you. That's why I bring it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I know people often love a dog and care more about a dog's plight than a fellow human. So maybe that's... All right. Let us know how you convince someone to get a vaccine, and maybe we'll do like a drawing for merch that smells like Busy. That she's already worn.
I mean, it's possible. I smell pretty good.
I think so. You have a nice neutral scent.
Well, I don't smell like anything. We've talked about it.
It's good.
My skin smells like nothing. First person to point it out was the Wayans brothers. I don't remember which one. One of the Wayans brothers was the first person to point out that I smell like actually nothing. He's like, you have no odor. You literally smell like nothing. I was like, I don't know what to tell you. He's like, that's weird. Marlon, best smelling person I know.
Best smelling person in Hollywood history.
Yeah, he's just incredible. All right, so on that note, guys, we love you. It's been roughly 17 hours and 45 minutes, and we'll see you again next week. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, no.